need it now. Money is a bitch in it. I don't wanna think about it. So if you know the song, sing it. Cause I need it now. Take me to a place where the music's loud. I don't wanna think right now. Flashing lights running through the crowd. I don't ever wanna stop. So let's get out. Let's get out. I got money in my
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Almost Awesome Show, episode 23. It is Wednesday, and I'm going to talk about movie stuff and all that. I didn't have anything worked out to say here. My bad. But hey, I'm Jake, your host, as usual, and I'm joined today by Nick, as usual, too.
Yeah.
I need to get better at this, but...
no, it's all good.
Yeah. Well, we're here to talk about movies and stuff, and we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Unlike previous shows in the past couple of weeks, we got lots of juicy things to talk about today. But before we jump into all that, let's talk about Nick. And Nick, how are you doing? I know you're weathering the storm down there where you live. How's everything going?
Good. I can't say that about my northern brethren up in northern Florida. But we had some tornadoes last night. We had some wind and rain, and yeah, my internet was flickering off and on today. So luckily it's not doing anything right now. But you never know. You might see me go. I'll start talking, be like, and you'll be like, Nick, you there? And I'm like, you'll just see me disappear into the void of internet.
If you do that, I'll screen capture it with you just like. Start like drawing dicks on your face and stuff like that. Like,
oh man, but yeah.
Well, I'm happy to hear that you were more or less unscathed by the what is it? Hurricane Ivan. Is it Ivan?
Ian.
Ian. Yeah. Ivan was years ago. Yeah, that's right. Ivan was years ago. I think that was back in the early 2000s. Whatever.
Hurricane Ian Fleming.
Big fucking hurricane coming through, and it's doing some damage down there. And I'm not gonna get hit by a hurricane per se, but up here, I'm a little north of Nick. I'm gonna get that bad weather probably tonight or tomorrow. So looking forward to that. But we're not here. This isn't the Almost Awesome Weather Show. This is the Almost Awesome Movie and Entertainment Show. So we're gonna talk to you guys about some movie news, and we got a teensy bit of video game news. Not a lot, it's just all movies, but there is quite a bit, like I said, going on this week. So we might as well go ahead and jump right into this thing. Did I? I did not. Might as well go ahead and jump right into the show so we can talk about all this juiciness and not run too far over. And of course, per usual, we're going to talk about news bits, those small little news stories that aren't quite big enough for their own full-on story, but we don't want to forget about them. We want to talk about them still. And the first one is a bit of video game news. Nothing really big, just kind of letting those that were curious to know in on it. There was a commercial for headphones, I think, or something. I can't remember. I don't have it in front of me what the commercial is for. It was a commercial with a person with a bunch of video game paraphernalia behind them. Like this stark white room, dancing around with like some white headphones on. They had a white PS5, they had white controllers, all kinds of white stuff in the background. It was for something. It wasn't for like Microsoft or Sony or anything like that, but it was for something. I want to say Logitech, like headphones or something like that. But anyway, they're dancing around and they're doing their thing. And in the background, eagle-eyed viewers picked up on, hey, there's an Xbox Series X back there. And it's fucking white. So people started saying, new Xbox Series X model. It's been confirmed. It's coming. Well, Microsoft came out and said, no, it's not. That was just for that commercial, just to kind of fit the aesthetic of that commercial with all these different white things. So, unfortunately, those of you that were excited about the possibility of a stark white Xbox Series X instead of the beautiful black monolith that it is, it's not happening. At least not now. It's going to happen. I'm sure you can get skins and stuff. I guarantee there will be an official white one eventually, but just not right now, which makes sense to me. Some people are like, oh, why not just put a white skin on it, give us one? Well, they're having a hard enough time getting these things out to people that want to buy them. Yeah. I don't think it makes a lot of sense to release a new SKU or a new version of it when you can't even get the regular version out. So that's how I think about it. What about you, Nick? Does this even register? Do you care? Would you want a white Xbox Series X if they had it?
Not really. I honestly, I like the PS5, but I wish it had come in black, and I don't want to have to buy like the outer casing pieces to make it black. It just, I don't understand people like different colors. That's fine, but I never understood the appeal to white. I feel like it's a very ugly looking color for a console. That's just me.
I agree.
But people like it.
No, sir, I don't like it. I'll also go one step further and say, the PS5, while it's not my preferred console, nothing against it, I've never thought it was a very good-looking console. I thought it was honestly kind of ugly. Looks like a Wi-Fi router. But someone did make one that was black. I guess they put a special skin on it or something. And I was like, that looks 10 times better than what was sold in stores. I was like,
it's called the IF Sauron.
Yeah, I was like, I would have that under my TV when it's black like that. The white one, I'm just like, that's, for me, it's an eyesore. But the black one looked pretty cool. But me, myself, personally, I like the black Series X too. But, I mean, hey, to each his own. White's never been my preferred color of a console either. But, hey, if you were looking forward to it, not yet, ladies and gents. But I guarantee you will get it eventually. All right, moving on from there, let's talk about movies real quick. Star Trek 4. We don't have a name for it yet, and probably we might not ever get one for a while. Was announced a little while back, and we also had the director was announced. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but then he was said to be directing. He got the job of directing Fantastic Four for the MCU about a week or so ago, or a little bit more than that, probably closer to a month ago, and he left Star Trek 4. Supposedly to go direct that's what it was. He went to go direct Fantastic Four. Well, that, directors get, we're going to talk about that later on with another one, but directors leave before movies go into production. It's okay. But unfortunately, Star Trek 4 has been removed from Paramount Plus's release schedule suddenly. No reason given, nothing beyond that. It's just not there. They have a release schedule that's out there that people could see, and Star Trek 4 is not there anymore. So that's not looking good. Nick, do you think that this means that we're not going to get Star Trek 4, or do you think that it just means that it was already kind of up in the air? The way it was put together was kind of weird, but what do you think this means?
It means that we don't need another Star Trek. Like, I mean,
well, beyond that,
Anton. Well, no. I should rephrase that. When Anton Yelton died, I feel like that franchise was done because maybe they could replace him. I don't know. Like, I want to see what I've actually always wanted to see Quentin Tarantino's Star Trek R-rated movie, but
and I forgot about him that he died.
Yeah,
I wonder who they're gonna put in his part.
I don't know.
I forgot all about that.
They put the directors of A24 in there.
Quentin. I'm sorry, you were talking about Quentin Tarantino's R-rated version.
Oh no, I'd rather see that than a new Star Trek because I didn't like Star Trek Into Darkness. I think not Star Trek Into Darkness. Star Trek Beyond.
That was the third one.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that one. So I don't know. I mean, they're taking it off because apparently it's just not a film that has any momentum right now. It feels like they are just kind of spinning the wheels, and you might as well it's like the whole Star Wars Rian Johnson trilogy. Just until you're ready to present it, just let it sit in the background and steam or do what it needs to do, bake for a while. And
do you think we're ever going to get it?
No, at this point, no.
Come on,
we're never going to see Half-Life 3.
They're going to make another Star Trek. Well, maybe they won't make a sequel to the, what do they call it, the Kelvin timeline. I guess that's what this was. So I don't know if we'll get that, but they're definitely going to make another Star Trek eventually. Well, either way, whether we get it or not, we're not getting it when we initially thought we were going to get it because, like I said, it's been removed from Paramount's release schedule. I don't really care. I mean, I liked the 2009 Star Trek. In the Darkness was okay. It had its issues, and Beyond was okay. I didn't hate any of them. I mean, they were enjoyable enough. So I'd be okay with another one coming out, but there just wasn't enough information about this as of yet, except for it was announced before all the cast and crew even knew that it was being made. Like Chris Pine and them were like, "Oh, I'm in a new Star Trek. Nobody told me." No, we hadn't talked about money, but apparently they did work all that out. So they've struck deals, but they lost their director, so they just said, "Fuck it." I don't know, but maybe they'll make an announcement later on that'll.
Oh, maybe Harry Styles will be Chekhov.
Oh God, It'd
be a spitting scene.
Anyway, moving on from there, here's one that was almost a full story, but it wasn't quite enough. And I honestly just am kind of tired of talking about this fucking movie. But I do want to get your 2 cents on this situation. Halloween Ends. It's coming next month.
I'm sorry.
It is coming next month. and it's going to answer a lot of questions, and it's going to, put an end to the Halloween, well, the this version of Halloween at least, or whatever. I don't know. It's going to end something. It's even in the title. It's ending, ends. But we have learned from director Gordon,
David, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. We'll just go with that.
David Gordon Green. He has said that there is one question that will not be answered. As we know, Halloween Ends is going to take place 4 years after the end of Halloween Kills. And there's a bunch of other stuff we've heard that is probably true, at least to some degree, especially after this new trailer that just dropped. But he went ahead and put it out there that, no, you will not find out where and what Michael Myers has been doing for the past 4 years, or even why he hasn't been around. This question will not be answered in Halloween Ends. And his reasoning behind it, I don't have the quote in front of me, is more or less, when I see Jaws, like Jaws 2, 3, 4, I don't ask, where the hell's the shark been in between movies? Might be, well, hang on. He says, I'm just there for that movie. I don't ask where the shark's been. And that's his reasoning why we're not getting an answer. So Michael's just 4-year high. He disappeared after killing, because the end of the movie, he's just standing up there, and then, it ends. He somehow got away. He's been gone. According to the new trailer, he's been in the sewers like Pennywise. But we're not going to know why he waited 4 more years to come after Laurie or whatever happens there. I don't know. As far as his shark comments with Jaws, Dave, that might be because each Jaws movie is a different fucking shark. Because they kill the shark.
Or the fact that this isn't
about
a shark. It's about a fucking shark, not about a fucking human
being
that murdered people. The shark ate people and then blew up in the first fucking movie.
And this human being clearly has a grudge against this particular person. I mean, I guess you could say that about the shark or family of sharks or whatever that's going on there. But I feel like they're not giving an answer to this, where has Michael been for the past 4 years, because it has been widely reported that the original screenplay was supposed to take place right after Ends. It wasn't supposed to be 4 years later, but they wanted to insert a bunch of political agenda and the COVID-19 pandemic, which apparently is going to be a part of this movie. I don't know. But
can they just make a movie where Michael Myers and Laurie Strode just fight each other? I mean,
that's what I think I said a week or two ago. Yeah, we just have a big brawl movie.
Okay, spoiler alert for anybody that doesn't want to listen to us, don't go away, just turn your volume off. But do you know what the story that they're presenting is about? Have we talked about this?
I know we talked a week or so ago about some of the things that Jamie Lee Curtis had said, but what are you talking about?
What do you care?
I don't know. Fuck no, I don't care.
Oh, okay. So this is the potential story. So this is a story where a young kid, as we see in the trailer, comes in contact with Michael Myers and inhabits the spirit of Michael Myers and starts going on a rampage as Michael Myers, because Michael Myers apparently dies. Now, this is not all potential real, but this is what I've been hearing. And what you're seeing in the trailer is not actually Michael Myers outside of him being in the sewer. It's a host for Michael Myers, and this is a rampage. And like, that's why when she pulls off the mask, you don't see his face, because it's not Michael Myers. It's that kid that we see in the sewer. That's what this movie's about. It's about a fucking host.
I'd heard it.
What are they fucking doing?
I had heard that, and we briefly touched on that.
Yeah.
I didn't know like those specifics. It's before that trailer came out. But yeah, that had been going around that wasn't Michael Myers. And whether I assume he'll be in the movie, I don't know, but that's not him for a lot of the movie. Yeah. It's somebody else that's an impersonate. Oh my god, did they go on the supernatural thing like Jason?
Friday the 13th did that shit.
Yeah, the one of the kid Corey Feldman's character. But years later, oh Jesus, and of course then the part 6 or 7 I think, where the goes to hell, where the Jason worm, that was 9. Like goes and takes over. Oh my god, this is gonna be bad.
Like the trailer looked bad, anyways. The new release trailer they put out, but this is like, and we're gonna talk about it later. But I almost like want to say that the Munsters is the least worst film of the year. like my honest opinion.
Bold comment, seeing as I know.
I haven't even seen Halloween Ends yet.
Hey, it might be awesome. It might be awesome. We don't know for sure.
Sir, I'm quitting the show
month.
if you continue this rampant.
I don't have a lot of faith that it'll be awesome, but I will reserve judgment until it comes out. And I think it's the 8th of October, is it? Or is it 20? I don't know.
14th.
14th, same thing. It's coming out next month in a little over, or actually a little less than a month, about 15, 16 days from now.
Yeah.
So we'll know soon. We'll know in the next few weeks whether Halloween Ends is a giant steaming pile of horse shit or not. All hints are pointing to yes. But we'll see. He did say that this movie's going to piss off a lot of fans and piss off people. I was like, why would you go into a franchise?
Why would you make the movie then? God damn. I hate this shit. Like,
I know you don't.
I
You
don't
don't
care
want to
if you
make
make
a
a shitty
movie.
movie, but don't tell me that.
You don't want to necessarily appease fans. I agree. Then you end up with like the Skywalker Rise of the Skywalker and stuff like that. But you don't go into it and say, "Fuck yeah, we're gonna piss everybody off today." Why would you do that? That's a bad idea. But all right, well, I'm gonna lay off this movie unless something else big comes out until for the next 2 weeks for when it finally comes out. So we'll find out. I'm sure we'll talk about it here at length. But yeah, Halloween. Michael Myers, we ain't gonna know where he's been. At least, yeah, I mean, and I guess it might not even be him. So we'll find out. Check out the new trailer if you're so interested. I mean, I guess it doesn't really shed a lot of light on anything, but shows more stuff from the movie. Anyway, a little bit of video game stuff real quick. Spider-Man Miles Morales. For those of you that do not have a PS5, or I guess that was on PS4 as well. If you don't have a PlayStation to play that, but you do have a PC, good news for you, because it is, much like its forebear Spider-Man, or Amazing Spider-Man, whatever it was called, is coming to PC, and it has been officially announced that it is coming in the fall, which it is right now. So, any day now. They don't have an exact date. They did show some footage of it in a little trailer that they're working on it. So, I know it's the same engine and everything as the other Spider-Man, so I don't think it should be that hard to move it on over because that one's already there. So, but yeah, if you wanted to play Spider-Man Miles Morales, hey, and you got a PC, it's coming soon to PC. Even though I heard it was a good game, but I heard it was almost like a DLC.
It's I mean, I played it. It's probably 8 to 10 hours long, but I think it's actually better than the original Spider-Man. It's good.
Really?
Yeah, it's entertaining. It's a more interesting story than I think. Peter Parker's getting overplayed a little bit. He's a little rote at this point, but
yeah, we had a few versions of Peter Parker up to this point. But well, I mean, because I played the Amazing Spider-Man or Marvel Spider-Man, whatever they called it. I didn't play it on PlayStation. I played it on PC. I played it for a while, but it did get kind of not terrible. It was still a good game. I acknowledge that, but I got kind of bored with it.
Yeah, I mean, it has a killer third act in it, so.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and I'll probably pick it back up at some point, but I got to probably the midpoint of the story, and it just kind of it's the same thing over and over and over and over and over. And a lot of games are like that, and it just didn't hold my interest as much. But I'll probably finish it at some point. But so I'll probably check this one out whenever it comes out, but at some point this fall. So any day. Fall lasts till what? End of November or something? I have no idea.
Yeah, something like that. December,
something like that.
Yeah.
Or beginning of December. I don't know. Something like around Thanksgiving. So probably before Thanksgiving. Maybe a Black Friday deal or something. Okay, back to movies real quick, or series rather. There's another informational little piece. Henry Cavill, or Healthy Henry, as I'll call him, because he's not sick. He survived the COVID-19 pandemic. The whole thing.
Our Lord and Savior.
He destroyed it with his awesomeness. He has announced, as I reported a few weeks ago, The Witcher Season 3, the Netflix Witcher Season 3 series, had completed filming or shooting or whatever, but we didn't know when it was coming. He has officially announced that The Witcher Season 3 is coming in summer of 2023, so we don't even have to wait a year to see more Healthy Henry on the screen as that badass beefcake of a Witcher he is. So if you're looking forward to season 3 of The Witcher, which I know season 2 is very divisive amongst fans, if you're looking forward to more Witcher in season 3, well, 2023, summer 2023 is your time. No official date, just summer 2023 at this point. Sure, we'll hear more as time gets closer. Well, did you watch that show at all? I think you said no, you didn't. Right?
No, I watched like a half hour of the first episode. It's just I don't know. It's one of those shows I watched and I'm like,
that's right. You tried season 1 and didn't get much further, right?
Yeah,
like
I only got like
half hour.
First half of first episode. It was like,
I get
maybe
it.
I'll go back to it. Yeah.
Season 1's tough to get into, especially if you haven't read the books. Season 1, I think I explained this on another one. Season 1 is very reminiscent of the way the books are made, and they're very much like The Gunslinger, which is something I know you have read, where it's like a collection of stories put together. But the the show doesn't present it that way. It presents it as a chronological, well, it's out of order, but it presents it as a show, a traditional show. They don't give you any knowledge that, hey, this is all kinds of all over the place in different stories. But you do need that information that you get from those stories to progress the story further when they actually do start to get linear later on. It's very much like The Gunslinger in that way, or the Dark Tower series in that way. You need the information from that first collection of stories, the first book, The Gunslinger, to really get what's going on in like Drawing of the Three and stuff like that. That's how The Witcher is.
Right.
But for those of you that are fans of The Witcher, you're getting more of it in summer 2023. Kevin Feige. The Feige. I don't know if anybody calls him that. I just did. He had some comments about some stuff that just small little comments. The first one, which I know some of them stands out there are going to love this. I could give two shits about this, but I know there's fans. Kevin Feige says that Scarlet Witch could return. Maybe. I don't know. Possibly. He wouldn't commit. He said something along the lines of, I didn't see her body under that rubble. All I saw was a big red light and the tower came down. So she might not. But nothing is on the books as of right now, according to him. I mean, not like they would tell us if she was coming back anyway. And people were like, oh my God. I'm like, really? Who thought? I remember when I saw that movie. I don't want to spoil anything. If you haven't seen, I'll try and remain as spoiler-free as possible. The end of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness doesn't end well for her character. We'll just say that. I think I even said when we were talking about in the spoiler review for that movie, as soon as it happened, I was like, she'll be back. I think that they should wait a long time till she comes back. I think she should have a triumphant return and like do something really big and be impactful. I don't think that they'll wait that long. Disney and Marvel aren't good at waiting for things like that. They want to strike while the iron's hot, even though I think that letting this iron heat up might be better. But are you surprised by this at all, Nick?
No, I mean, she's very popular with the audiences and stuff like that. So Marvel, like DC, is a comic book thing. They always bring him back in some form or fashion. I mean, we'll talk about it later. They're bringing back another popular character for a specific movie, and you never can keep a good character down. I mean, I liked Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch. I always thought she was the better of some of the characters ever put on the screen, but no, she'll be back. They have too much money on the table to not bring her back. She even, pay her hundreds of millions of dollars, whatever they pay her.
That opens up another question that I have, and since you said you like Elizabeth Olsen as that character, and I mean, I do too. I mean, everything pre Phase 4, I enjoyed her in. Mm-hmm. She's only been in since then, WandaVision and Multiverse of Madness, right? Hadn't been anything else she was in.
Yes.
Not really anything. She may have made a cameo, I don't know, but those are the two things that she's been involved in. I didn't hate WandaVision, but I didn't love it. I thought it was an interesting idea that was stretched out too far, and Multiverse of Madness was just a fucking mess. But even prior to that, I enjoyed her character, but I never thought she was like, holy shit, she's so amazing. The way people talk about this fucking character, you would think that she was like Iron Man of the MCU. Like, she was the greatest fucking character ever. And I'm like, what? I'm like, she's not real. I mean, she's not bad, but she just hasn't been given an opportunity to do a lot. This was before WandaVision even, though. Her stands, because she has very special stands, that character does. I'm like, why do people think that this character is so great? Because, she could be so powerful? So Captain Marvel too. I mean, she's just the next one that they say is the most powerful character in the MCU. They said that about Miss Marvel before that. I mean, you know, so I don't, or not Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel. Why the special love just for her?
I just think she's a good actor. It has nothing to do with her character. I just think she's a talented actress and does a pretty nice job with what, you know. There are certain people, there are certain people in the MCU that are just awful, just the way it is, and there's some people that are good. Like I like Chris Evans as Captain America. I like, you know, Robert Downey Jr. of course as Iron Man and stuff like that. I mean, there are other characters who are just like cool, like Miss Marvel. I just not Miss Marvel, Captain and Marvel, whatever. There's too many Marvels in this goddamn series. Whatever her face is, who's playing Captain Marvel, whatever. It's just like I don't care about her at all, and you know, I don't know. I always found Elizabeth Olsen interesting in this series.
Yeah, I like her as an
I think
actress.
she got better.
I will say that I like her, but the character of Scarlet Witch or Wanda Maximoff, besides the show, she was given something to do in the show, I guess. But prior to that, she really didn't have a lot to do. And she had a couple arcs, but
I didn't like her turn in Doctor Strange. I thought that was a really that's like turning into a character into evil because we need a plot point. I didn't really care for that too much.
Yeah, they needed a twist.
Yeah,
I agree. Well, either way, stands of Miss Witch, she's gonna be back. This was nothing big, but I guess Kevin Feige has commented on it now. So since Lord Feige has said something, you know, it's gonna happen. He's being coy about it, but come on now, who the hell thought she wasn't coming back? But that's not all he had to say. He was also commenting, this was in an interview, and he was talking about a lot of things, but they talked about recasting T'Challa, who is, of course, Black Panther, and after his death in real life, people, it's a weird situation, and he said it was much too soon to recast him, which, I don't know, it depends on how you look at it. Me, myself, I look at this, and I'm like, yeah, I guess from that perspective, but the guy, nothing against him and the work he did, and I'm not talking ill of that, but there have been other franchises and movies that have recast characters because they passed or left or whatever, and because they passed away. I feel like even quicker than between these movies. The first one, it's not, I guess it's a series, not a show, or not it's a series, not a movie. First one that comes to mind is Spartacus on Stars, which if you haven't seen Spartacus, it's an awesome show. It's 4 seasons of awesomeness. The guy, I cannot remember his name offhand, he died of cancer in between season 1 and season 2. Came out of nowhere. Well, not nowhere. He had it, went to remission, then it popped back up and killed him like within a month or so. But they recast him. And, you know, of course, it's weird at first, but then, you know, people get used to it. It is what it is. It sucks, but it is. And, I mean, because they didn't want to recast him, the character of T'Challa, clearly his character dies in the universe, in the movie. So someone else is going to take up the reins of Black Panther. So the character of Black Panther is more or less recast. It's not that specific character, but the superhero character of Black Panther is someone else. The torch has been passed. I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen, none of us have seen the next Black Panther, so I can't really say, or Wakanda Forever, whatever they call it. So we can't really say if that was
there.
Good, huh? You there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you see me? I froze. I think I froze.
Oh.
Yeah, because like the Zoom meeting froze.
Oh.
I'm like, am I there? I don't know if you saw me. I did this like.
Oh yeah, I mean, I didn't see. I saw you out of my peripheral. I heard you say, "Are you there?" Anyways, yeah, I don't know. Do you think it was too early? When I say that, when I ask the question of, do you think it was too early or too soon to recast that character? I say, I guess like just you as a person, do you think it was? Because I mean, yeah, I get that. I would say probably yeah, but in comparison to what other properties have done with characters before, do you think it was too early? What do you think?
What
of this?
on T'Challa?
Yeah.
Oh no! There's a whole big thing about he should have been replaced because it's not. They're like the whole big thing is they're not discrediting what Chadwick Boseman did. They're. It's like when they replace. I mean, he didn't die, but when they replaced Terrence Howard with Don Cheadle, it doesn't take away from the character itself. It just allows a different character to come in because, look at like Kirk. They replaced Kirk, like 4 different times, and I think Marvel was so scared because it is T'Challa and is an African American character that they were afraid that they were gonna, do something wrong with his character. It's like, no, look at like a band member like Red Hot Chili Peppers or something like that. I think it was Red Hot Chili Peppers or Metallica, when their member got like run over by a bus, they just replaced the drummer because they're still respecting the original drummer, but they have to find someone to come in and
Exactly.
Like,
It's
I don't
not
understand
disrespectful.
they're still honoring Chadwick Boseman's character. They're just allowing the character to progress, and unfortunately, he passed away. It's like being scared without like reason or logic, I guess you could say.
Well, I don't want to get too far into it, but apparently Chadwick Boseman's brother has even come forward and said he supports recasting the character, and like the family supports it, and all these people have said they wish they had just recast it because it's all but confirmed that Shuri or Suri, whatever her name is, she's going to take up the Black Panther mantle.
Well, it puts the movie in like a whole weird scenario because now you have to tell a story without T'Challa, which was a major character in like progressing the MCU, and I don't know if that brought in Namor and stuff like that, but it's really weird. I don't know.
And also, they are clearly he is going to pass away in the film, or his, at least the film is going to deal with his passing. Yeah. So I'm like, is that that's some shaky ass ground right there. I wouldn't want to, I wouldn't want to be put in that situation to have to depict this person who died in real life's death or aftermath of their death on film in a Marvel movie. I wouldn't want to do that. I would have just recast him and have a thing at the beginning, in his honor or for him or whatever. Because I don't think it's like you said. It's no more disrespectful to his memory to replace him than it is to recast him than it is to just continue on with the franchise and kill him off in the franchise. It's no more disrespectful in my opinion. I don't think either is disrespectful. I just think one makes more sense.
I'm just wondering what they're going to do for 2 hours and 41 minutes of Black Panther 2.
Is it 2 hours and 41 minutes long?
Yeah.
Holy
it's 161
shit.
Minutes, yeah.
Well, good for them, I'm sure. I haven't seen the movie. The movie may be great. I don't know. I thought Black Panther was fine. I didn't think it was as great as everybody else, and I don't really feel like hearing anybody's opinion as to why that is. The reason I didn't was because it was fine. I enjoyed the movie. I liked it. That was a good movie. But people talked about it like it was monumental, like this. And I get some people have a connection to it because of things beyond just what the movie is and what the movie stands for. And I understand that, and that's fine. But I'm looking at it just for the movie itself, just as the movie. I thought it was good. It was a really good movie. But, man, the way you heard people, because I didn't see it when it first came out, and the way that people were talking about it, I thought it was going to be like the greatest MCU movie ever made. And I just saw it, and I was like, I mean, it's good.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
So much money, but it's fine.
I really enjoyed it, but I didn't. I went in with like extremely high expectations because of everything I'd heard, and then I was kind of like, oh, the second time I saw it was actually better because I didn't go in with those like inflated expectations because the way people were talking about it. This next one, I'm with you. It might be awesome, no idea, but I'm not excited about it. I'm just like, we'll have to see because they've changed so much. Right, the movie is being influenced by real life events. Unfortunate events for sure, and I get that. It would have been anyway, and I'm just wondering what kind of changes did they make based on that. Well, I don't know. We'll see. It's coming out soon enough. We'll find out then. I don't think that anybody, and this is unfortunate, because he is attached to it. He's not attached. He's not in it. Chadwick Boseman's not in it, but because of what the movie, how ingrained in it he is, I don't think. I highly doubt whether the movie is good or not, it's going to get any negative reviews. That may be a controversial take, but it is what it is. I hope the movie's good, so it doesn't even matter. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I got on the news bits this week. You guys let us know what you thought, what you think of Star Trek 4 being removed No White Series X. Halloween Ends, not explaining where the fuck Michael has been for 4 years. Spider-Man Miles Morales coming to PC. Healthy Henry announces Season 3 of The Witcher. And Kevin Feige's comments on Black Panther 2 and Scarlet Witch. Let us know in the comments below what you guys think of all of that. Okie dokie. With all that out of the way, all that messiness, let's move on to some more messiness. All right, Nick. Our first story of the day is this is a bitter and sweet story that I want to know somebody else's thoughts on this, because this is a difficult one to really comment on.
Is it about the fact I'm out of chocolate?
No, it's about Dahmer.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Dahmer, yes.
The
guy loved chocolate.
He loved something, but not chocolate. Well, he kind of loved chocolate. I'm going to stop. Anyway, Dahmer, the monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story. Terrible name, by the way. Should have just called it Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story. No, it's called Dahmer, Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story. It's a very redundant name. Title. Well, let's get the good out of the way first. Netflix's Dahmer, Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story just had the streaming service's most watched week 1 for a new series on record. Dahmer earned a whopping 196.2 million hours viewed in its first week of availability, which was really just 5 days. Netflix's number 2 series last week was Season 2 of Fate, the Winx Saga, which hauled in 60.97 million hours viewed in its second week on the charts, and its first full week of availability. So it was actually out longer than Dahmer was. I just finished Dahmer last night. I watched it over the course of about 3 days, 3 nights. I was alive when this happened, and I remember. I was a kid, so I don't remember like every single detail, but I remember like a lot of the stuff that it was depicting. I was like, yeah, I remember. I had I was old enough. I would have been 12 when it all happened, or when it all came out. And then as it went on for the next few years, so early preteens and teens. So I was aware of the situation enough to look back at this and have a pretty good memory of some of these things. So I thought, because this is made by actually someone we talked about last week, Ryan
Murphy.
Yeah, Ryan Murphy. And I know you had displayed your displeasure with his stuff in the past. I thought this was good. I'm not gonna lie, it was very interesting. Now we're gonna talk about something about that in a minute, but I thought that overall the show was really interesting. It's a tough watch at times. Some of the stuff with the victims, and I don't mean tough. It's not really nearly as violent as you would think. There is some violence in it, but it actually alludes to violence more than anything. You hear a lot of stuff. You don't see as much. It's not nearly as gory as you would think it was, especially considered for its subject matter. It's more about the people. It's about Jeffrey Dahmer himself, but it's also about a lot of the other people surrounding him, like his neighbor, who was in the news quite a bit, and some of the victims. It really zeroes in on some of the victims for like whole episodes, and the victims' families, especially closer to the end of the first half of the show is a bit more focused on him, and then as the show goes on, it starts to focus on other people in his life, like his father, like his whole episode. There's one episode that is about one of his victims, and it follows him around. I don't want to give anything away, but and that was a great. That was a really good storytelling tactic, because it got you very invested in this one person. I mean, the guy killed 17 people. You can't tell 17 individual stories, but they got you very invested in a few of them, but this one in particular got you very invested in them, so when the unfortunate inevitable end happened, it was all that more impactful. But what I remember that it was showing seemed like it was all accurate enough. You know, there was nothing that I was like, that just didn't happen, or
Yeah.
And what I know of the Jeffrey Dahmer, not that I'm a expert in Jeffrey Dahmer, but what I do know about him. Now, given what I just said, I like the show. I would recommend people watch it, but just know its subject matter and knowing that it's all true and it is pretty brutally in your face. I never felt like the show glorified Dahmer himself, or anybody. It just was telling a story. I never felt sympathetic for his character, but you do, obviously, in following a character for 10 hour-long episodes, he's not in every one of them, but for a good portion of that, you do get to know at least this character that's being portrayed to you on screen. So I never really felt bad for him, though, especially knowing the fact of us knowing it being more or less recent-ish, knowing that this person did these things and having seen the real person and gone through that. I don't know. I don't know if I was supposed to, but I could never muster up any kind of sympathy or empathy for this person.
Yeah.
I felt more sympathetic and empathetic for the people around him, his own family and the other families of his victims, of course. I felt sympathy for them. I'm not going to get into what the guy was. He was something else. He is truly one of the scariest people ever. Scarier than somebody like John Wayne Gacy, who's in the show as well. Because that guy was just fucking crazy. You see him, Jeffrey Dahmer, I never got the idea that he was crazy. He was just evil. I mean, Anyway, none of that really matters here. Check it out. It's on Netflix. I thought it was a good watch, though difficult at times. Well, following the show's premiere, Eric Perry, who's a cousin of Jeffrey Dahmer's victim, Earl Lindsey, took to social media to voice his disgust with Netflix and the creative choices in Dahmer. Perry said on Twitter, "I'm not telling anyone what to watch. I know true crime media is huge right now. But if you're actually curious about the victims, my family, the Isbels, are pissed about this show. It's re-traumatizing over and over again for what? How many movies, shows, documentaries do we need?" Perry further pointed to the lack of sensitivity towards the living, many of whom are depicted in the series without their knowledge, let alone consent. Because the information is all public record, there was no obligation or requirement for Ryan Murphy Productions to contact those involved in the story, so his family found out when everyone else did. Perry said, "Recreating my cousin having an emotional breakdown in court in the face of the man who tortured and murdered her brother is wild." The show's production team has defended the project, saying that the goal was never to humanize Dahmer, but instead to show the perspective of the victims and explain the ways that race and sexuality informed the killings. Okay, so this is a tough one because I don't feel like the show was ever sensationalizing the character of Jeffrey Dahmer, and I do feel like the show did actually, because nobody's really going out there saying that the show is false in what it's saying. Nobody is saying that, it's telling a bunch of lies. I will give it that. I do feel like the show did at times kind of shine a light on the other people, because you hear Jeffrey Dahmer, you can name his name all day, but people can't really name the victims' names, and that's kind of sad. And they can't name the people that were around him in his or his vicinity or whatever that he affected. I do feel like this show, especially the second half the first half does focus, like I said, a lot on him, but the second half of the show, the final 4 or 5 episodes, focuses on just all these other people, a lot more than just him. Actually, there's whole episodes where he hardly is even in it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a good thing. However, on the flip side of that, I was talking with someone else about this. I get it, man. And this same thing about movies and books and things like that being made about Jeffrey Dahmer, made about these victims, comes up in the movie. It happened in real life. And people were sued and lost money and all that. The proceeds of certain things about him and the families were sent to the families, even though other people were making it, court judgments and whatnot. So this comes up in the movie as well. It's a real difficult. This is not a hard one. This is an impossible situation. How do you justify this? Do I think that this is a story that should be? Yeah, because this shit don't need to be forgotten. And I think that the show does a good job of like saying, remember these people, remember the people that were affected by him. But if you are one of those people that was affected by him, or the family of these people, of course, do you want to see that? Do you want to hear that name ever again? Hell no, I get it. But people are interested in this. People want to know. Why? Because this person, this human being, and the things he did were so crazy and out of the norm and insane. We want to know. I mean, people can't help that they're curious. They're interested to know why and what happened. So I don't know. I don't really necessarily, me myself personally, and I want to get your view on it, even though you haven't. Have you seen the show?
No, I don't watch Ryan Murphy shows. No, I refuse. Yeah, no, I have not seen it. No.
I will say, because I've seen some of American Horror Story. It's a different vibe from that. It's a very different vibe. I mean, I know that was his other big one. But anyway, I think that the show, who made it all aside, I don't think that there was anything wrong with the show being made, and I didn't feel as if it exploited, in at least an overt way, was exploitative of anyone. If nothing else, I felt like it was. I do feel like they were trying to explain the ways of race and sexuality inform the killings, put the perspective on the victims, like they said. But then I also get why these people are just like, how many, what did he say? Movies, shows, documentaries do we need? Because there's already been a movie made with Hawkeye. What's his name?
I just forgot myself. The guy who played Hawkeye. What did you say that?
It'll come to me in a minute. I keep wanting to say Rennie Harlan, but it's not him.
Yes, it's Rennie Harlan. Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Damn, that's bothered. Why can't I see I can't think of it. Anyway, there was a movie made. It wasn't a very good movie. It was an okay movie made some years ago where he played Dahmer. I didn't think this was bad, but I get where these people are coming from. And I just wanted to kind of get somebody else's view of, like, what do you think about this? Take the Ryan Murphy part out. Because I know you got feelings about Ryan Murphy.
Yeah. No, I am a huge disponent of Ryan Murphy. I hate that guy so much. Well,
he did. I'll say that I don't know how involved with this he was. This was a good, as far as storytelling and watching it and all that, and the fact that it seems like it was fairly accurate, fairly honest. I thought this was a good show.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I mean, if you like this, more power to you. It's a difficult thing to broach because you understand what the families are feeling. They're disgusted by this. But it's also like you and I both watched Ted K, which is about Ted Kaczynski and the ideas behind that. Yeah. And it's the same thing here. Like there was Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, which had Michael Rooker, and there's all these stories that you'll watch that are based off serial killers. And unfortunately, people sometimes they'll change the name for protectivity and stuff like that. But I do feel like let me ask you this: did they get permission to use these people's names, or they just said, "Fuck it, we're going to do whatever we want"?
Well, I don't know the whole story there, but I know that at least some of the people know they weren't consulted.
Yeah.
Not knowing that it was in production, I don't know. Because this movie did come, they didn't do a lot of promotional work for this movie.
No, it literally just came out.
Yeah, they just slid it out there, and then it blew up as to, like, number one. Whether they knew it was coming or not, I know this one guy, Perry, what is his name? Eric Perry, the cousin of one of the victims, he says he didn't know. And what he was talking about, his cousin, by the way, there's a scene, and you can see the actual, in the court, after Dahmer before he was sentenced, as they do in these types of cases, they allow the victims' families or people affected by it to come up and give say a piece and plead to the judge what they think should happen, more or less. And all the different family members came up there. His cousin, I don't see her name here, she had an outburst in court. She lost, and that didn't really. I remember that, and they showed, they didn't show that. They reenacted that, and it was very close because I've seen videos online when I was looking into this story. It is like very close to that scene. I didn't feel like they were overdoing it or anything. That is what she did, and I don't blame her. She lost her shit, and she was like, "Fuck you, Jeffrey Dahmer! I'll fucking kill you!" And she like started going after him across the courtroom and all that.
Yeah.
That's the emotional breakdown he was talking about that his cousin had. But since it was all public, what was the wording he used? It was all information was all public record. There's no obligation or requirement for them to consult them. Whether they all, because there's a lot of people, a lot of families and family members and stuff like that that are depicted in the film.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if none of them were or just this particular guy. I have no idea. Because he, as far as I know, I'm not saying he wasn't in it. He wasn't a primary. He wasn't the one. He's even talking about it was his cousin that he had an issue with what was going on. But I have no idea.
Yeah.
As far as like the consulting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's weird because you want to be well, that's the thing. You want to be respectful of these people, but you still have to tell a story, and whether it's such a slippery slope, you know. Do you tell a story and do it your own way, or do you have people come in and talk about it? And it's hard to.
Well, there's no way that this isn't traumatizing.
Yeah.
I get where they're saying it's re-traumatizing all over again. And that, I don't know, man. It's hard. Because I don't see a problem with these stories being told. Because if you say that this story shouldn't have been told, then you got to point to every single real life story that could have traumatized somebody and say it shouldn't be told either. Because the same situation came up with that movie that you and I like, Pain and Gain, took place in where you live. That was even more recent, and apparently the families of people involved in that were all up in arms. Now, that was a much more stylized take on that whole situation, too, from what I understand, and people were all up in arms about that. But, I mean, in anything that anybody would still be alive for, I mean, you got things about, you know, World War II criminals and stuff like that, and, I mean, where is the line? Where do you cut it off and say, okay, this can be told and this can't be told? I understand it's traumatizing. And that's terrible, but I don't know what the happy medium is because people want to know. They're like, how could somebody possibly do this? We can't. I don't think people should feel like ashamed for being curious because this is a fucking crazy, fucked up story. So I don't know, but
who knows? It's such a, like you said, it's such a weird thing to even kind of broach on that, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I did not expect to get an answer to this today because I know there isn't a right answer. There's just not. I mean, I hate for someone to be traumatized or re-traumatized and have to hear about that and go through it. But I don't think that this movie not existing is going to change that. I could be wrong. I mean, I'm not one of the victims' families, and I don't mean to be insensitive in any way, but I mean, Jeffrey Dahmer to this day is such a well-known name because of what he did. I mean, references are made about him all over the place. So, I mean, I don't think that this movie this movie releasing or not would not have changed it. I mean, maybe it's going to drum up a bit more publicity about it for a little while, but I don't think that would have changed. His name is so well known that you're going to hear it at some points out there in the world, and that's got to be painful. I get that. That sucks, but you know, it's a catch-22 all around. But I will say that, I mean, for what it is, for what it's worth, I mean, I hate that it's hurting people, but it was a very interesting show, and from what I could tell, for the most part at least, it is it's just telling facts. I mean, more or less, it's dramatized, of course, to a degree, but it is. You know, it does not glorify the character, and if you got Netflix and you have any type of interest in that true crime stuff or anything, I would suggest, you know, you guys check it out because it's an interesting type of show. But I don't know. There's not a right answer to this. But anyway, let us know in the comments below what you think. Do you think that this type of show, these type of true life dramas or crime dramas should be allowed to be made? Should the families have to sign off? Because the other thing on that is, if the families had to sign off on it, I don't think any of these would ever get made. They just wouldn't. Because a lot of family members are like, no, I don't want this put out there.
Yeah.
And I get it. I get I get that too. So it's like, you know, where's the line? What's the answer to this? Let us know in the comments below because I certainly don't have it. Alrighty. On to something a little bit
a little more.
more lighthearted, because Jeffrey Dahmer is anything but that.
Yeah, I wish I had more to say on that. It just sometimes it's like,
oh no, I get it. I get it,
Yeah.
man. That's just what do you say? What can you say about that? I mean, the whole situation, everything about it is just so fucked. I mean, there's everything about that whole thing is so fucked. And after seeing that series, it's even more fucked. I mean, I don't think it ever glorified him. I will say that. It does not
No.
glorify him as a human being at all.
yeah, if you're glorifying the horrifying version, or the horrifying person that is like Dahmer or Ted K, or Worleen, whatever the chick Charlize Theron played,
Or
in
how-
Monster,
yeah.
you're not doing your or show or movie service. That's what I'm gonna say.
No,
You can't make them good.
It did not do that. If anything else, it made me have more compassion. Not more,
Yeah.
just a renewed, at least, compassion and empathy, and just really curiosity about the victims and their families and his parents. His dad, at least. His mom was... It's up in the air as to, like, what that woman was. But, yeah, there's... It's interesting. It's really interesting. Because that is something I've always wondered about with these people that do these, terrible, terrible things and get caught, regardless of their Hitler or Gacy or Bundy. All these people, they got families.
Yeah.
They're terrible. They're awful. Jeffrey Dahmer was. He got what he deserved, but his family wasn't him, and he's got a brother that changed his fucking name, and nobody knows where he is. I mean, the media is always trying to find out who this guy is, and they can't. Like, the dad knows where he is, and that's it. He changed his name and went on with his life. But the families, because how do you, like, if you got a kid? I know you don't have kids, but if you've got a kid, you love them, even if they do something terrible. And then that conflict right there within, that'd be, what the fuck? Like, my kid has done these terrible, awful things. And the movie, it deals with that a lot. And I thought that was one of the more interesting parts, because the father, he loves his kid. He can't change that, but he's disgusted by what he's done. And he wants him to get help. He wants him to get right. But he's there's a lot going on there. And that's a really interesting part of it as well, I thought. But anyway, let's move on to something a bit. Let's have a palate cleanser. The Munsters.
Yes, the Munsters. So much better.
So I don't know if the movie's better, but it's this is definitely a better story than a more lighthearted story than we talked about in a minute, than Jeffrey Dahmer. So, but yeah, what I want to talk about this is not really the quality of the film, because I haven't finished it. I've watched about half of this movie, and I'm going to finish it today. Nick, I know you have, and you have thoughts on it, and that's fine. Yeah. What I want to talk about is a bit of interesting stuff about the making of this, which I find interesting that this has finally come out, especially considering what a lot of people's take was on the trailer of the film.
Yeah.
According to Rob Zombie, Universal Pictures would not give The Munsters a go if it was filmed in black and white, as the original 60s sitcom was. Dun dun dun. Zombie still managed to sneak in a brief black and white interlude, a recreation of the show's opening credits featuring the Munsters walking through their manor's doorframe one by one. I'm assuming that's closer to the end of the film because I haven't seen that part yet, but I did see it in the trailer. And it was in the trailer, and he also said when they were in the trailer, the studio wanted to take those few moments and make them color because they thought if people see a black and white shot, they'll be confused. Zombie says, I'm like, people aren't that fucking stupid.
Gotta give him credit for that one, yes.
Yeah,
They are not that stupid.
Like the movie or not, you gotta give him credit there. He's like, what, really, guys? Come on. They're not fucking stupid. Anyway, he says, sometimes you're dealt a certain scenario. You can walk away from it, but that doesn't create anything. You figure out how to deal with it. Sometimes you create something you would have never created. And also on the film being a prequel, he had to say, that was always my vision, even 20 years ago. To start the movie on Mockingbird Lane and assume people are totally up to speed seems weird to me. Because if you didn't know, the film is a prequel prior to them living where they lived in the show. I think that they get there in the end of the movie is what I've heard. But, what do you think of it? Because that was one of the big things that we all talked about when the trailer came out, And I think even people were taking it and putting it in black and white and saying, look, it looks 100 times better, which it did. And everybody was talking about, why isn't this in black and white, this color thing he's got going on? Because he went from black and white to the exact opposite, like these super crazy, vibrant colors.
Yeah.
Which is, you do shoot black and white. That's one way of shooting black and white. So the colors will kind of shine through and you see a difference in colors when it's in black and white. But he apparently shot that way on purpose. So he was like, well, since I can't have black and white, I'll go crazy color. What do you think of it? Do you think that this was to the detriment of the movie? Like I said, I haven't finished it. Would the movie have been a better overall experience had it just been black and white? And do you think, how ridiculous, or maybe not ridiculous, do you think it was for Universal to say, no, you can't go black and white with the fucking Munsters?
Well, okay, first of all, the studios apparently think everybody is an idiot because they do this shit all the time where, excuse me, where they go, oh, they're not going to like that. And it ends up being something that they are completely wrong about. And it's just
every time.
Yeah, almost every time. Not always, but most 99.99999% of the time, they're absolutely wrong on this. That's why, the test screens are stupid things sometimes. But, I mean, I will say, if you want to watch my review, it's on my channel, but the movie could have definitely worked better as a black and white film. I mean, going back and doing like an old school horror, like, in the Bride of Frankenstein or something like that realm could have worked for it. I'm not saying the dialogue, the jokes would have landed, but I think, I can't remember who did the black, someone I watched who's famous, maybe it was Joe Blow or something like that, did a black and white version of this trailer, and it looks so much better. Because you could tell that the one big thing about like Alfred Hitchcock and stuff like that is he used certain colors to accentuate the black and white to make it look better, and you could tell that here. There are some shots in here that absolutely could be worked better. The visual effects could be worked better in black and white. And I'm hoping that Rob Zombie at some point gets to put out a black and white version, because I think it could honestly look better in black and white. I think it could work better in black and white. And the studio going, oh no, they're not going to like that. Yeah, I mean, there's gonna be a subset of people that don't like black and white. They also don't like foreign language, subtitles. But you cannot tell me that there is no way that this movie would have not worked in black and white. That's like saying, having peanut butter and bananas doesn't work. It works in its own right. It's just stupid.
I feel like, of course they want to capture new viewers. I feel like a lot of this movie existing is depending on people's preloaded knowledge of the Munsters. They already know it's black and white, so seeing this version, I guess they're probably talking about kids, because I do think younger viewers have a harder time with black and white film. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
That's the problem, though, Jacob. This movie is not a kid. This movie, as much as Rob Zombie can say, this movie is meant for the fans of the Munsters or fans of Rob Zombie or that kind of ilk. The kids are not going to watch this movie anyways. Like, I don't understand where they think that would be possible, because I understand kids are more adhered to colorized versions of movies and stuff like that, but it's like, the movie and the way it plays out, it definitely doesn't feel like kids are going to watch it anyway. So I don't know.
Well, and I haven't finished. I will say that I thought the trailer was terrible. We did a trailer reaction on here, and it looked. I couldn't even pay attention to what was going on because it looked so cheap.
Yeah.
What I've seen of the movie so far, I think looks better than the trailer did. I don't know what they did or what, but it didn't look as bad. I'll give it that much. What I've seen, I haven't seen the whole movie. What I've seen of the movie, it looks better than the trailer did, because the trailer looked like cheap trash. And a lot of that, when I saw that same video you did, when they put it in black and white, I was like, oh, see, that looks legit. That's how it should have been from the beginning. It didn't look cheap anymore. It looked like it fit. Not to say the movie makes up for all that. What was that?
Yeah, that's just a YouTube channel doing it.
Yeah. Well, not to say that the movie makes up for all of that, but what I've seen of it, it does look better than that. So he clearly went back and did some stuff, took some criticisms or something. I don't know, but I think this is fucking ridiculous. Let creators be creators. Why do you even hire people that are creative, regardless of how creative you think Rob Zombie is or isn't?
Well,
why hire creatives if you're going to come in and veto a big creative move like this?
A prime example of this is Solo with what's their faces, the guys who were behind some of the best comedies of the last
The
decade.
Lego movie guys, yeah.
Yeah. They brought him in, and then they don't like the tone they're coming out with. Why the fuck do you hire him? It's like Rob Zombie. Why did you give him $60 million to make a movie and just piss all over his creative abilities? It's like you may not like Rob Zombie, but the guy obviously loves the Munsters, and the fact that Universal's like, oh, we'll give you $60 million, like. Then why are you pissing all over his idea? I don't know. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
I may have different opinions of what I think of the movie, but the guy was given money to make a movie, and if you don't like it, then don't give the guy $60 million to make a movie. That's how I'm gonna say.
Well, I don't have an opinion on it as of yet because I haven't finished it, but I will say, because I know your opinion of it's not very high. Apparently, the original version of it was 2.5 hours long.
Holy shit!
I know the version we got
definitely didn't need to be that. It didn't need to be as long as it is now. So
isn't it like an hour and a half or something like that?
No, it's like 2 hours. It's way too long. Yeah,
well, there's at least 30 more minutes of footage that was in there, or longer. I don't know, but apparently it was originally a lot longer. So you could have gotten more of what we got here. Maybe it would have made it better. Who knows? But that just answers a big question I've been saying from the get. And I said that when we saw the trailer. I was like, "There's no way in hell." Why would he's such a purist? He's talked about how much of a purist he is, and I believe it, given his other work. Why is this not in black and white? I don't get it, and now it makes sense.
Yeah,
like I said, I was like, I bet the studio did it. There you go, they did.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. You can tell there's a lot of love put into this movie, just on what, depending on what you think about this movie. At least he knows the material and respects the material. It doesn't mean if the movie's good or not. But you could tell he has a love for it, and that's what should matter, not what fucking, Universal don't pay someone money if you're going to shit all over their property. So
I agree. Let them if they want to do that. At least, well, I mean, hell, it's going to streaming too. Let them have both versions. Have it where you can switch it between black and white and color. I don't fucking know. But hey, there's the Munsters. Maybe I'm with you, Nick. I think that there will be some type of way to watch this in black and white eventually, and I don't know if that'll improve the viewing experience or not. But I think it would improve the viewing experience. Whether it'll improve the movie, I don't know. Because once again, I haven't finished the movie yet, but I will have a review of that coming soon on my channel. But Nick's got a review of the film already on his, so check that out. Check mine out when it comes out in the next few days. Okie dokie. Oh, and of course, let us know in the comments below if you've seen the Munsters and what you thought of it, and if you think that black and white could have saved and or changed your view on the movie. Alrighty. Let's talk about Avatar. Ooh,
baby.
I think we're going to talk about Avatar for the next 2 weeks. Probably. Let's talk about Avatar's road to 3 billion and how it started off with a bang. For those of you that check out the show regularly, you'll know that we talked about last week, and I think twice last week, we talked about can Avatar make the $152 million, I think it was, in 2 weeks that it needs to hit 3 billion. Be the first and probably only movie to ever hit $3 billion at the box office. And as I said before it got re-released, it needed $152 million to do it. It has a limited 2-week. I think it's going to be more than 2 weeks, honestly. I think because 2 weeks would be not this Friday, but next Friday. I guarantee they let it go through that weekend. So I think it's going to be 2 weeks in a weekend. I could be wrong, but that would be weird for a movie to just go away on Friday, especially if they're getting close to that money. I think they'll leave it there. But who knows? But anyway, it got released. Its official re-release. I think I reported on Saturday that it had got its early release in some smaller territories. It did decent. It did well for those small territories, very well. But the money wasn't big. It was right under $1 million. But these are very small territories it was in. Now it has gone worldwide, with the exception of China, because it already went there. Mm-hmm. And after this weekend, and it had stiff competition because Don't Worry, Darling, which has been on. Everybody's been talking about that movie. Positive or negative press. Press is press. That came out this week as well. That's the new movie to come out this week. Well, Avatar re-release earned $30.5 million in its opening weekend. The 4K HDR version of the movie snagged the top spot in 50 global markets upon launch by grossing $20.5 million worldwide, or not worldwide, but in the rest of the world, and 10 million here domestically, 13 years after its initial release. So what does that mean as far as its road to a 3 billion? As of Tuesday-ish, this may have been Monday when I pulled this information,
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but as of Monday or Tuesday, it needs approximately $119 million to hit 3 billion. I mean, that's a lot for 2 weeks, but it's not totally undoable either. That would be a hell of a hit. I think you mentioned last week that would be monumental. That'd be a hell of a hit.
Yeah. Yep.
But I mean, it made 30.5 in its first 2 days or 3 days. So who knows?
Can we just talk about how it beat out a new movie? Like,
we're going to talk about that, yeah.
Yeah.
What,
It's just crazy. It's crazy. I'm not really surprised because there is still a love for Avatar, and the fact that, as we were talking about on Saturday, they did add a clip to the movie for Avatar: Way of Water. Apparently, the clip I saw, there was other places that had a different clip with the characters that's coming back as Sigourney Weaver coming back in the movie.
Ooh.
Yeah, apparently there was a different clip where she's swimming through the water. It's in the trailer, but apparently I don't know. I had a friend send it to me, but I mean, it just shows you once again. We talk about this, Jacob. Don't piss off the master that is James Cameron, because he will fuck you every time when it comes to trying to dissuade
against Jimmy Boy.
Yeah, he's the king.
Well, I haven't seen it yet. I was supposed to go see it yesterday, but I had to reschedule because of some scheduling conflicts. I'm going to see it Friday. I'm definitely seeing it Friday, so I'll get to see that clip, and I'll get to see the HDR 4K Ds and X's and double Ds version of the film. I'm looking forward to it. So I will contribute my little bit of money to the road to 3 billion. But what Nick was alluding to a moment ago is that, as I mentioned, this week's new. Well, yeah, it is new. Both movies are new, but this one, of course, is a re-release 13 years later. Don't Worry, Darling was the other new movie this week, and it got beat out by Avatar at the worldwide box office. Don't Worry, Darling was close, but no cigar at only $30 million worldwide. And Avatar pulled in an extra $0.5 million, $500,000 more, which you're like, well, that's not much. Yeah, but the movie's fucking 13 years old. This is a brand new movie that everybody's been talking about. Everybody's been spitting on people just to go see this fucking movie. Avatar? That's the other thing. That's the other thing about it. Everybody's seen Avatar. I mean, there aren't many people that haven't seen Avatar. And it made that much fucking money.
It just shows you how good of a theatrical experience Avatar is. Like, Avatar is a theatrical experience. Like, Don't Worry, Darling, you could watch on Warner Brother or whatever, whoever put it out on like whatever streaming service and be fine with it. Avatar is one of those movies that it looks good on TV, as we've talked about this, but it's like Inception, or not Inception. I don't know. We'll say Inception or whatever Christopher Nolan puts out. It's a movie that is for the big screen. Like, when it left back in 2009 and you couldn't watch it again on IMAX, it was actually kind of sad, because it's like, you need to see that movie on the big screen. That's why it is what it is. That's why I'm glad it made more Don't Worry, Darling.
And it's been 13 years since I saw it in the big screen. Looking forward to seeing it this Friday. But yeah, I think that is. We talked about it'll need to do some monumental things to hit that 3 billion. Well, it just did one. It was number one at the box office when there was.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, Don't Worry, Darling is not a big action movie or anything, but I mean, it had a lot of press. There's a lot. There was the mind share was there. People were talking about Don't Worry, Darling, even regardless if it's good or not. People were talking about it. So I mean, I can't say I'm totally surprised that it got outdone by Avatar, but I mean, there's part of me that kind of is. Now, I will say that I think Don't Worry, Darling outdid Avatar in the U.S. It wasn't like a landslide, but it did. That's where Don't Worry, Darling made most of its money. But Avatar still made $10 million on a fucking re-release 13 years later, when a lot of people own the goddamn movie already. So
multiple versions of it, actually.
Yeah, I do. So that's just insane to me that this movie is doing this well. I mean, who knows? Maybe next weekend, $2 million. I mean, we might right there be like, all right, there's that road, it's done. But I mean, if it comes out swinging again with another $20 or $30 million next weekend, this thing could have a chance, depending on what it does, like, Monday through Thursday. We'll see. But, yeah, that's what we're probably going to look at this again. Maybe not Saturday because it'll be a little bit too early, but next Wednesday we'll probably take a look at this again and see where it's at. Because next Wednesday, I believe it will only have not even a full week left at the box office. See if it's going to hit it. I'm in all honesty, I will be surprised if it does hit that $3 billion. But man, I hope it does, because that's just fucking crazy. It's like I have no investment in it, but there's something about just like, oh, this it's right there. It's just right there. I just wanted to reach out and grab it, because I mean, 152 million is in the movie world. Oh hell, now 119 million. That's nothing. That's nothing. But we'll see. We'll see if it does it. Who knows? Maybe. But let us know in the comments below. Have you gone back and seen the re-release of Avatar? Did you put your money out there for it to hit that $3 billion? Are you contributing? You're fighting the good fight. And if you did, what do you think? Do you think the film is going to hit $3 billion? And have you seen Don't Worry, Darling? And which one do you think is better? I've heard bad things about Don't Worry, Darling. But anyway, moving on. All right, so we are at the halfway mark of our stories, and I have a little something for everybody. Been a little while since I've done that, but review time. Oops, wrong picture.
We're talking about Avatar again. Review time of Avatar.
Review time. That's right. I did a review, everybody. I still do those, I promise. I have at least 3 of them coming this week. I know that much. But I did a review. I got a copy of Mortal Kombat Legends Snowblind. It is the new animated feature from Warner Brothers in the Mortal Kombat universe. There's been 2 more of these already. I did reviews on both of them, and I actually did a trailer react to this on this show a month or so ago. And the movie is finally out. Well, it's coming out. It comes out like next Friday or something. Maybe it's next
you got
week.
to see this early. Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm really interested to see.
It's coming out very soon. Very soon. It may already be digital. I don't know. I know that it doesn't officially come out. I think they said it's either Friday. It's not Friday. I think it's next Tuesday. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's next Tuesday or something like. It comes out soon, okay? And it'll be on HBO Max. And you can buy the Blu-ray. But I did get to see it. I'm a big Mortal Kombat fan, so I was excited to see the film. The previous Legends movies I thought were fine. They weren't bad, but they were just, if you're a fan, you like them. If you're not a fan, you're not really going to be into them. But I wanted to give my 2 cents on the new one, Mortal Kombat Legends Snowblind, that deals with a character named Kenshi, and also Sub-Zero and some other characters that you may or may not know. But here, real quick, is... There it is. Here, real quick, is the my review of Mortal Kombat Legends Snowblind. Enjoy. It's just a few minutes long. So it's been a while for all things MK, so without any further ado...
It has begun!
Legends Snowblind is brought to us by director Rick Morales and stars David Wenham, Manny Jacinto, and Ron Young. As Kano and the Black Dragon wreak havoc around the globe, a young warrior named Kenshi will have to rise above his own limitations and take on the looming threat of Outworld. So Mortal Kombat Legends Snowblind is the latest R-rated animated feature from the Mortal Kombat universe. Before this, we had Scorpion's Revenge and then Battle for the Realms, and if you look back at my reviews of those, I thought that they were pretty good. Scorpion's Revenge was a bit of a rehash that I didn't really need, and I thought Battle for the Realms, while still a bit of a rehash, was a bit more fresh. And that's probably my biggest complaint of the Legends films up to this point. They all just seem like rehashes, things we already know. These are stories we've seen. While Realms was a bit different, it was still a lot of the same MK stuff that we've seen for decades at this point. And now enters Snowblind, and while yes, this entry does include some things that we've seen in the Mortal Kombat lore up to this this point. It is the most original story of the Legends films up to this point. Going into this thing, I was expecting more of what we've gotten so far with the Legends films, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but they're really only something that are going to interest MK fans. And seeing as how I am a huge MK fan, I'm okay with that, but on the flip side of that, I would like to see something new. So color me surprised when that's kind of what we got here, and I kind of dug it. This MK story takes place in a post-apocalyptic world. Everything has gone to shit Mad Max style. Kano, or King Kano as he's known in this film, has taken over and he is the big dick in charge. Now, I've never been the biggest Kano fan, granted he has grown on me a bit in recent years, but here they make it work. At first, when I saw that Kano was the big guy in charge, I was like, really? Kano? He outdid like Shang Tsung and Shao Kahn and Liu Kang and just anybody in the MK universe. But they do give you reasons as to why he is in charge, why he is the big guy. Kano's crew of ne'er-do-wells are going throughout the land and just taking over all these small villages and making them pledge allegiance to Kano. I mean, I don't really see why, because just everything in this world is shit at this point, so all you're doing is acquiring more shit for your shit sandwich, but you know, whatever, I guess you do you. Upon arriving at one small village and trying to take over, they are met with some opposition in the form of Kenshi. Now, if you know the games, you will know that Kenshi is a blind telekinetic character. And one of the first things you'll notice here is that this Kenshi is much younger, he's not telekinetic, and he also is not blind. So yeah, you guessed it, origin story, bitches! Now, honestly, I really wasn't looking forward to a Kenshi origin story, but, you know, I was looking forward to something new, and that's what they gave us here, and it was pretty fun. Old Man Sub-Zero shows up too, and I can always do me some Old Man Sub-Zero. We see how Kenshi loses his eyesight, we see how he gets telekinesis, how he gets his sword, and how he gets to where we know him in the games. Now, you may be asking yourself, what about this world? That's not how I remember things going down within the MK universe, and you'd be right, but the movie does, by the time the end rolls around, give us a reason as to why this world is the way that it is. And the way that they do it is kind of unexpected, and it does make it fit nicely within the MK lore, especially the newer MK lore. Now, this story is not going to set the world on fire. This isn't the be-all, end-all of MK stories. However, it is something new, and that is something that this series has painfully needed for quite a while. I enjoyed these characters. I enjoyed the story, though kind of basic, that they had to tell. If you're an MK fan, you are going to like this. At first glance, you might say, okay, they've changed quite a bit here, but like I said, just see it through to the end and it all makes sense. Now, on the flip side of that, much like the other two MK Legends films that came before this, if you're not an MK fan, this probably isn't going to change your mind. That's not to say it's bad, that's just saying that this is made for the fans. You don't necessarily have to have that built-in knowledge that you have as a fan, but these things just aren't going to resonate with you the same. Can the movie's characters and story stand on their own without that knowledge? Yeah, but they're not going to stand up as well as they would if you do have that knowledge and love for the series. That being said, if you are a fan, I think you're going to have a really good time here, and in my humble opinion, this is the best entry in the Legends franchise up to this point. If you enjoyed the animation style and storytelling beats of the previous entries in this franchise, then you're going to enjoy it here because it is pretty much the same. The artwork and character design all around is pretty good. The animation in this one I feel is a little bit more fluid than it was in the previous two. And the violence, if that's what you're here for, well, there is quite a bit of it, and some of it is pretty fucking gnarly. I mean, it is Mortal Kombat, so what did you expect? The movie doesn't seem as much of a tryhard as the first Legends film did when it comes to its R-rated content, though. That movie, while the violence was pretty cool, it felt like they added in a bunch of language just to solidify that R rating. You don't get a lot of that here. Yeah, there is some language and stuff, but it's not forced. I remember the first movie, like every other word was fuck, and it just seemed really out of place. Here, yeah, we get some language, but it never feels out of place or forced. I said a while back of the Legends franchise, while I think, yes, it was a cool idea, if they are going to continue the series, I want to see some new, fresher stories, and that's what they gave us here. So now I am more excited to see where they go from here. Guys, Mortal Kombat Legends Snowblind was a pretty good time, especially for Mortal Kombat fans. While Kenshi wouldn't have originally been my first choice to headline a movie, I gotta say that I had a good time with that character and this world. It may not be a tour de force of storytelling, but when it comes to this franchise, it is definitely the best so far, and for fans, I think you're gonna really enjoy this. It's fresh, it's fun, and moves at a really solid pace. Its animation and voice work is all very solid, and the only thing thing really holding this thing back from a little bit of a higher rating would be the fact that this is very much for the fans and other people won't find as much enjoyment. But that being said, it is absolutely worth streaming.
Across the street.
Now, even though I did rate this movie worth streaming, I will say if you are a Mortal Kombat fan, this movie is absolutely worth a buy. But for fans and non-fans alike, I do think the movie is worth checking out. So one night, if you ain't got nothing else to do and you're looking forward to some really good, gruesome, R-rated fun, then check out Mortal Kombat Legends Snowblind, and I think you'll have a pretty good time with it. So there it is, guys, my review of Mortal Kombat Legends Snowblind. If you enjoyed and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you want to help out the channel, check out my Patreon in the description below. Become a jarhead and get some of the awesome benefits to go along with that, like these guys. And possibly check out my top tier and become a bad motherfucker, like my man Silverlock and Marge G. If you liked what I had to say, give me a like. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, stay sexy, Earthrealm.
Is it just me, or is it getting a little bit nippy out here?
He's here. And there is nothing you can do to stop him.
Now, even though these Legends movies have all been pretty good, especially for fans, there is one thing that they are all missing. There is one thing that they could add that would probably raise the ratings of all three of these Legends films so far by at least 1 point, and that would be, of course, the song. You can never have too much techno syndrome. I hit mute instead of unmute. Whoops. There's my review of Mortal Kombat Legends Snowblind. Sorry, I hit the wrong button. From here, it looked like mute, but I guess the green and red should give it away on the button. Anyway, yeah, you guys let us know what you think of that. But what I was asking Nick was, had he seen any of the Mortal Kombat Legends movies? There's 3 of them now. And he had said, no, he has not. What about animation? Is that something you would even be interested in looking at, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think you said some of them are on HBO Max, so I may give them a look. Like I said, I like Mortal Kombat. I mean, I love the video games. I think they're, especially now, they're like way better than they used to be. And the movies are take it or leave it. You know, I understand the nostalgia of the original movie, but you know, I mean, from your review and what I see, I mean, you said this is a very violent movie, so I'm all about that. So I may give it a look.
They all, the Legends films, the 3 of them that there's Snowblind, Battle for the Realms, and the first one, what was it called? Scorpion's Revenge. They're all very violent, like very violent. But they do get better with each one, I thought. The first one was just kind of try hard. It was okay, but it was kind of like, whatever. Had cool violence and cool action, but it was just like every other word was fuck, because they were trying to be like, yeah, we're R-rated. Like I said, the trailer for it even talks about R-rated Mortal Kombat. It came out right around the same time as the 2021 movie.
Right.
I think it was before. No, it was before the 2021 movie. It was the first R-rated Mortal Kombat, and then the second one didn't really go into that as much. It was still violent. They're all really fucking violent, but it didn't seem like they were trying to try hard so much. But it was still telling like a story we've heard a bit about, but it was a little bit different. This one's like a whole new story. That's what I liked about it. I was like, okay, that's cool. There's a few things here or there, but it was a wholly, I'm going to say original story. It's a story that I'm not familiar with. If not, I know a lot of that lore, but it is newer because it deals with some of the newer stuff from the newer games. A little bit. I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, it's worth checking out. I know they all come to HBO Max. I'm assuming they're all still there, I don't know. I know this one will be, but the others were. But you never know what the hell is or isn't on HBO Max anymore. David Zaslav may have been like, Mortal Kombat? Fuck off! Get over there! But anyway, yeah, check out Mortal Kombat Legends Snowblind. It should be showing up on, I don't know if it's, the Blu-ray comes out on, I'm pretty sure it's next Tuesday. I don't know if, I know sometimes digital comes out a little bit early, so it may be over there earlier than that. Who knows? All right. Moving on from there on with the rest of the show, we just got a couple of more a few more stories to talk about. This one I thought was kind of ironically funny, if you will. You may have a little bit more of a attachment to this. Alan Rickman and Harry Potter. You're a Harry Potter fan, right, Nick?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, rest in peace, Alan Rickman. Love Harry Potter.
And I'm a Harry Potter fan. Not as much as some, but I enjoy the movies. I read all the books. I enjoyed the books. I think the books got better as they went along. I thought that was one of the cool things about the books. I thought the books matured with the characters as it went along. I don't really hear enough people talk about that, but I always felt that way. But the movies do as well to a degree. Alan Rickman, I think he's a great actor as well, and I thought he was great as Snape. Snape was a really intriguing character. He ended up being a very intriguing character. Well, apparently, somebody who didn't like Harry Potter was Alan Rickman himself. He was not a fan. He passed away in 2016 to, I think it was prostate cancer or colon cancer, one or the other. Yeah. Unfortunately, he battled that for a long time, apparently. He got diagnosis in like 2004. But he has had a series of, I don't know if they've been released as a book or if they've just gone public, which I don't know how I feel about that. We'll talk about it. But his diaries, he has had a series of diary entries and just diaries become public here recently. And apparently when talking about the Harry Potter movies and making those, because he made them for quite a few years, he displayed his disdain about it all. Alan Rickman did not count himself among the legions of Potterheads, according to his recent revealed diary entries. Here's some of the quotes from his diary. Finally, yes, to Harry Potter 5. The sensation is neither up nor down. The argument that wins is the one that says, see it through, it's your story. This is in reference to, finally, the way that this is supposed to be framed is, finally, we're to the fifth one. Almost done. We're finally getting there, and the sensation is up or down, meaning he does not give a shit. Oh, did I freeze? I froze. Hang on.
Hey, for those people, I'm gonna do voiceover. My name is Jacob, and oh,
I'm back.
There, he's back. He's back. His camera is back.
Anyway,
ignore all that.
He pretty much the sensation of neither up nor down, meaning he did not give a shit that he didn't care. He didn't care about these movies. And the only thing that made him or helped him get through it was see it through, it's your story, which we'll get to that more in a moment. He also said in one of his diary entries, talking to agent Paul Leon Maris about Harry Potter Exit, because he apparently every single movie tried to get out of the movies, which he thinks will happen. But here we are in the Project Collision area again, retaining no more Harry Potter. What? Oh, I'm sorry, retiring no more Harry Potter. They don't want to hear it. So in other words, he kept on, the reports show that he, pretty much every movie, he tried to get out of it. And they kept talking him into Ford. It. He wanted nothing to do with it. Now, why? That's the question. Why did he want nothing to do with it? Well, apparently Rickman felt that when he was donning the Snape outfit, in his words, he wasn't himself. I realize as soon as Snape's ring and costume go on, something happens. It becomes alien to me. Chatty, smiley, open, all of it's alien. The character narrows me down, tightens me up. So he didn't like playing this character. Apparently he took it real serious and it made him feel very alienated from everyone. There are reports of him having had on-screen or on set fights with some of the people in the movie. So, yeah, that sucks. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Hang on just a moment. We'll be back. Give me about 30 seconds. Sorry about that. All right, moving on from there. Had to step away and unlock a door. What was I saying? Oh, well, he didn't like the way that it made him feel. There were reports of on-set fighting with him and some of the directors because it just put him in a really bad mind space, and he just wasn't into it. But according to everybody, he was always very professional, except for those on-set fightings, and he did think highly of some of his castmates, I will say that. Now, he did find John Williams' score to be hideous, in his words. I'll say that, and a lot of people really love that score, so they'll hate to hear that. But it wasn't all, it wasn't all bad. I mean, he did say that he did like some, Daniel Radcliffe he thought was always charming and great, no matter how bad the day was, and a lot of the other people he worked with said that he was really nice to work with, but apparently he was fucking hating it every minute of the day. Now, the one thing that kept him going, apparently, and it has come out that J.K. Rowling had let him know basically at least part of where Snape was going to end up by the end, with where he always loved Lily and et cetera, et cetera. And in his words, this is what kept him going. Snape dies heroically. Potter describes him as to his children as one of the bravest men he ever knew, and calls his son Albus Severus. This was a genuine rite of passage. One small piece of information from Joe Rowling 7 years ago. Snape loved Lily Potter. Gave me a cliff edge to hang on to. Well, with that bit of information that we have there, Nick, being a Harry Potter fan, and of course if you're a fan, you're probably a fan of Snape as well, because his character arc is one of the more interesting character arcs in the whole thing. How does it feel to know that Alan Rickman, that you probably, as you said, you're a fan of his as well, fucking hated every minute of it?
Yeah, it's not surprising. He there's a famous story about Alec. Hold on a second. Almost like a sneeze. No, he's notorious, like Alec Guinness, for hating the series that brought him a lot of popularity, because Alec Guinness became really famous because of Star Wars, and I get it. Alec Guinness and Alan Rickman were thespians on the stage, so you can tell Alan Rickman wasn't a fan of being on screen on movies. I think one of his best roles kind of displays that, which of course was a Galaxy Quest, where he played a very despondent British guy.
Yeah.
I think it really felt.
Role.
I know, right? But think about this. You're playing one of the most popular characters in a franchise like Harry Potter, and you're having to do this, for a decade-long career, and your career is already 30 plus years at this point, and you're just not loving what you do. It makes you wonder why he even wanted to do this. I don't know if it was for his kids or for...
Apparently he didn't. He didn't want to do it. He had to be convinced by Christopher Columbus twice. He talked him into doing it. That was another part of the story I don't have here in front of me, but he had to be convinced multiple times to please take this role. You'd be perfect for it, and we want you in this. So, they probably threw some money at him too, I'm sure, but he had to be talked into doing it by Christopher Columbus, and then for the sequel, he was like, no, I'm not coming back. And he had to be talked into that as well. It's like every movie they had to sit down with Alan, and talk him into coming back because his character was so important, or was going to be.
Yeah, it's so weird because, I love that Alan Rickman's in this movie, in this franchise, because he's the best part of it. I'm going to be honest, he's the best part of the whole entire franchise. And his character arc is so fascinating because he's played off to be like kind of a villain, but he's actually more of a protector. And he's just like that stodgy grandfather or stodgy uncle that just seems angry all the time, but they actually have a lot of love for the family. And
Exactly.
yeah, it's the same thing here. It's like I said, I go back to Al Guinness. Why even like how are you so convinced that like you don't want anything to do with this? You're bad mouthing it in letters and stuff like that, but you do it anyways. It's such a weird thing. But Al Guinness, or I keep saying Al Guinness. Alan Rickman will always be one of my favorite actors because he always took on roles that were very different for the actor. Because apparently he was very soft spoken and very very smart and very like he loved theater. But then he goes on to play as his first role, Hans Gruber in Die Hard, and he went on to do like Dogma and like very famous roles, Love Actually, and it just feels like Harry Potter would feel like the choice role, but there was apparently a lot of people who were in Harry Potter that only did it because their kids could watch it. So
I get that, but I don't think that's why he did it. In
I
Alec
don't know.
Guinness's defense, he really only did one movie. I mean, he came home for like pretty much a cameo in the other two,
yeah,
but he was really
he
only
was
in
like
one.
yeah, he was down on that franchise for like from the minute go.
Oh, yeah, he
It's
was
pretty crazy.
Shit talking
but-
left and right. Alec Guinness, I'm doing it too. Alan Rickman. It seems like it probably just really wasn't that hard for him to play Snape, this miserable seeming character all the time, because he was fucking miserable himself.
Yeah.
Now, all jokes aside, he was apparently during the entirety, well, just about the entirety of this series, dealing with this is either colon or prostate cancer as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he was doing other things, other films as well. So that probably made things a bit more difficult for him too, going through something that traumatic that eventually did unfortunately take his life. But yeah, I just thought this was kind of, I don't know, not ironic, just kind of funny. Not funny, but kind of, wow, I didn't expect that he hated, not just that he hated the role. There's plenty of actors that are like, oh, I hated being in that movie. He hated being in 7 fucking movies. I mean, it's amazing to me that he was convinced 7 times to stay in this franchise. I'm sure that they were trying to get him to sign a contract, like contractually obligate him to be there at some point. But he did it. He finished it out. And that what he said kept him going was J.K. Rowling letting him know that, hey, the end, this is what happens. And he found that compelling enough to, like, stay in it because this is your story. Tell your story. Finish it. And there's something noble. There's something to be said there. He started a job and he finished it, so good for him. But
Yeah.
let us know in the comments below what you think about Alan Rickman saying, I fucking hate Harry Potter. And how about the score? He hated John Williams' score, too. I know a lot of people love that score. He hates
I love it.
Apparently, every time he hears that, doon, 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 he's like, ugh, fucking hate it. He's called it hideous. It's hideous.
Oh, man.
But let us know what you think of that and what you think of the Harry Potter franchise overall as far as the films go. And let us know in the comments below. Okay, so continuing on with our more lighthearted stuff today. This is a short one, but it's one that I just wanted to really make one comment on. We're going to talk about the Falcon, not the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Captain America 4. He's not the Falcon anymore. He is now Captain America, Captain Falcon, whatever you want to call him. Anthony Mackie, he's taken over the role of Captain America. He will be headlining Captain America 4. I think they have an actual name for that now. New World Order or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's gonna
well-
be about the band.
He had some comments on what he would like to see in the film. And he said, and this apparently goes back before the film was even a thing, I want a fight scene that rivals Chris Evans' fight scene in the elevator in 2014's Captain America The Winter Soldier when he fought like 10 dudes in the elevator. That was a badass scene. The first time I saw that, I was like, that's crazy. So I just want a fight scene that rivals that. The scene was directed by brothers Anthony and Joe Russo. The said scene is a reflection of Roger's skills. The fight sees Evans using a mix of techniques to take down approximately 10 strike agents single-handedly. Captain America, yes, the New World Order will release in theaters in 2024. Okay, so I get it. Anthony Mackie's like, I'm Captain America now. And that was a badass scene. That's a very popular scene. And I understand why he's like, I want my own elevator fight scene. I get it. I would too. However, You need to earn it. I feel like Captain America, Chris Evans' Captain America, he put in the time, he built up the emotional connection and investment in that character and that scene, not just the character, but leading up to that scene, because the scene was not just, you can put people fighting in an area, and if you have no investment in the characters and what's going on, the stakes at hand, it means nothing. One of the things that meant a lot there was that Captain America, we had just found out that Hydra was in control. These are all Hydra people around him. He's stuck in this elevator. That meant something because we had gone all this time thinking S.H.I.E.L.D. was what it was, but it's actually Hydra, and that was a big deal. That doesn't happen overnight. They earned that reveal. So when he's surrounded by these people that are about to try and take him in, and he gets in this big fight with them in this elevator, it wasn't just the physical actions going on here. It was a lot of the emotional and just the story beats. It was the investment that we had in what was going on, not just the fight, but what was going on thematically with the story. And I feel like that's something you got to earn, but that is one of the big problems with the MCU right now. They don't seem like they want, and I'm not saying Anthony Mackie himself, but the showrunner or the makers of the MCU, they don't want to earn these things. That's why the Infinity Saga meant so much. That's why it was so impactful, because we built up to that. There was it took time to get there. They put the time and the work in to create these interesting characters and stories to get us to these points in these films and in the big team-up films to make it mean something, make it count. When these actions happened, they hit us hard. So if you just have a new movie where he just has a cool a fight scene with cool choreography, that doesn't mean anything. You can get that anywhere. You can watch that kind of shit anywhere. I mean, that's my opinion. What about you, Nick?
To be personally honest, and I have to disagree with you a little bit on Anthony Mackie. I think he's been in with since Winter Soldier. So I mean, he has built.
I do think that.
I know what you're going at, because he hasn't been, the main focus. But I think even as bad and as crappy as I thought Falcon and Winter Soldier are, I think a cool fight could work for him, just on the simple fact of, I do like the Ant-Man sequence with him and Winter Soldier, or with him and the Falcon. I do like that. So I don't necessarily think that like he needs an elevator scene, but I do think, we'll talk about later on with a certain other, MCU character. I think they need to give him something. I mean, I'm not saying like it needs to be the elevator sequence, but I think if they give him nothing, it'd be like what we complain about all the time. It's like there's so much, like you said earlier, there's so much there, and a lot of it is payoff. I think that sucks. And
I agree. Let me repreface what I'll say. What I meant.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, like, yeah.
Not so much him. I didn't clarify this. Not his character. His character has been around, and his character has earned, having a connection to him. And I'm totally with that. But his character as Captain America and his films, he hasn't had his movie. He's been a key part to these movies. But these movies, these new ones moving forward, these new Captain America, I feel like those, because there's no investment in the MCU right now. There ain't shit. There's nothing happening. We don't know what there is no, it's not that we don't know what the overarching, like the big thing that's going on in these films is right now. There just isn't. We don't know because nobody knows, because it doesn't exist. They're just trying to get out of this phase to the next one so they can tell the Kang dynasty, or have Kang come in, Kang the Conqueror. Phase 4 is just the most muddled, out there, throw it all at the wall, see what works, and none of it works phase there's been. But I mean, like the Captain America saga, if you will, up to that point, and yes, it was very much connected to the MCU as a whole. There were stakes there. Like the whole Hydra thing built up. And yes, I agree. He can have and he will. I'm sure there'll be a cool fight scene of some sort that he'll have. And he does deserve that. And I think he'll get it. But will it have that same weight as the elevator fight scene? Because the elevator fight scene is looked upon as really good. Because it is good. It's a good scene.
Yeah. It's very difficult to capture magic like that. Like that. Because it was actually kind of, that scene in general was like a lot of the earlier arcs of the MCU, where sometimes the action sequence would kind of come out of nowhere. You're like, you weren't expecting Captain America to just have like a crazy ass fight sequence in an elevator. It just wasn't something you expected. Here, it's just like you're starting to expect things to happen, and
Oh yeah, and it had a great build up to it, and when he walks in there, it just built up to it greatly, and that movie itself did. But the whole story arc for the whole MCU as a whole, not to that one scene, but it was all building. It was building. Everything was building up. That was just one culmination of events. But the movie built up to that, and then he gets on there, and he just finally and he's just like, I can't remember what he says, but he's like, "You guys ready to do this?"
Yeah,
and then like,
oh shit,
yeah, it built up to it, and then it just went the fuck down, and I was like, that was awesome. I don't see those kind of scenes in this new MCU, and unfortunately for Anthony Mackie, because he does come from the old MCU, but he's now in this new one. I hope that they get that mojo back, but I don't see them, from what I've seen in the past couple of years, I don't see them having something that will be that impactful in his film. I hope they do, though, because I like his character. I like Anthony Mackie. I like Captain America. I'm not very impressed with this Captain America so far. We've only gotten Captain America and the Winter Soldier, but that show didn't do it for me.
No, it was terrible.
But yeah, it was not good. And maybe there was a good show there at some point, but they chopped it up so much and took things out and added things, and just I don't know what. I don't think they knew what the hell they were doing by the time they got there. But either way, yeah, I do agree. I think we're somewhere in the middle. I agree that yes, he will and can have a cool action scene that's just actions, but to be as impactful as that one, to be remembered as the elevator, because you say the elevator scene, people know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, if he has a construction site scene, you say that, people are going to be like, well, which one? What? that he's wanting that type of impactful scene. Well, get your people that are writing that story to build you some good drama to get you there, because it's not always just about the actual what's happening on screen. It's what's happening thematically as well. That always adds to your action. You have great action. If there's nothing behind it, most people aren't going to care. At least that's what I think. But let us know in the comments below what you guys think. Do you think that Anthony Mackie will get his elevator fight scene? Not necessarily in an elevator, but, his iconic fight scene that people will just know, everybody will be aware of? Let us know. Do you think that his character, do you think that this new MCU is able to provide that? Let us know in the comments below. Okay. Now, these last few stories are a bit quicker, kind of like that one, so this shouldn't. We don't have much longer left in this. We've only got 2 stories actually left. And both of them, these last 3 are all MCU related. This is the MCU-centric show, and I didn't even realize I did that. But so everybody knows Deadpool 3 is coming. And I'm sure yesterday it dropped. There's a little bit of clarification that's needed here. We got a teaser tweet about Deadpool 3. We all saw it. I saw it. You saw it, Nick, right? You sent it over to me, I think. It's pretty cool. We get on Twitter, Ryan Reynolds put out a thing saying, I can't keep this caged up anymore. I got to let it out or whatever. And he had a little thing. It didn't show any footage of the film, but it just had him talking about how, we're working on Deadpool 3 for the MCU. I wanted it to be something special, blah, 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 blah. He's being all serious, so he's going to Ryan Reynolds at some point. And then he does, and he says, but I got nothing. I can't think of anything. And then in the background, you see somebody walk by, and he says, hey, Hugh. It's Hugh Jackman, as he's like walking by, and he's going to go up some stairs. And he says, you want to be in Deadpool 3? He's like, yeah, sure, why not? And then like you hear Whitney Houston's The Bodyguard song play for a second, and you see this symbol pop up. The Deadpool symbol, and then the 3 strikes, saying that, seemingly confirming that Hugh Jackman will be in Deadpool 3, right? Oh, and that it's coming out September 6th, 2024. All kinds of shit being released on Twitter. Well, maybe. That might be right. In a video posted to Ryan Reynolds' Twitter account, Reynolds revealed that Hugh Jackman will be returning to the role of Wolverine in the upcoming Deadpool 3, which also given a tentative release date of September 6, 2024, as I said. However, Disney has not directly confirmed Jackman's involvement in the threequel, nor have they even dated Deadpool 3 on their upcoming release schedule. Okay, it was a tweet. That's not totally out of the realm of possibility that they just hadn't got around to it yet. But Reynolds had tweeted back in 2021 that an initial plan for Deadpool 3 was to follow Deadpool and Wolverine on a road trip together, although he implied that version was scrapped after Disney bought 20th Century Fox. And Ryan Reynolds has a history of trolling and putting shit out that's not always Deadpool related. It's not always necessarily 100% accurate. Like he likes to like fuck with people and put stuff like out there, because we've known that his Deadpool has always had this thing for Hugh Jackman, and I'm frozen again.
I'm not. Woo! And
You sing it.
Oh,
You
he's
sing
back.
it, girl.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Anyway, he has a history of putting stuff out there that's not always 100% factual concerning the character. He likes to troll people like Deadpool. He's kind of like he's playing the character of Deadpool, but in real life. So while initially everybody was like, oh my God, he kind of broke the internet with it. Now people are, they've calmed down. They've brought it down a bit. And they're starting to wonder, is this true? Is this 100% accurate? Or could it just be him fucking around? What do you think, Nick? Do you think that this is going to... Because Hugh Jackman, he said after Logan, he's retiring the character. He's not coming back. I mean, never say never. But what do you think? Do you think that this is totally accurate, or what's going on here?
I mean, most of it, as we know, for a simple fact that Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds have had like the greatest fake rivalry of all time. It's like been some of the greatest things ever posted. It's funny, it's hilarious, it's everything you want out of a fun rivalry and stuff like that. And the fact that the fact that they did 2 YouTube videos or whatever they posted, one was Hugh Jackman just walking in the behind. It's like that's kind of funny in its own right. And then you have the one where they do it and they just kind of bleep out the whole thing as they're talking. It makes me think that they want to do this and they may pay Hugh Jackman a lot of money. But what exactly is it going to involve? I believe Hugh Jackman's going to be in this movie. Yes, I don't know if it's going to come out when they say it's going to come out. But can you imagine if it was just like he has the time travel device and he goes back before Logan is killed in the movie Logan, spoiler alert. And he revives him, and also we start getting Wolverine movies again. I think that would be hilarious. And have Cable in there, like a road trip movie between him, Cable, and fucking Logan and stuff like that, or Wolverine.
Well, with the multiverse thing that MCU's into now, I mean, the character could very easily, the Fox version of the character could easily come back.
Yeah.
And I think that Marvel MCU is in a place where they're like, we have to recast this character, but who the fuck do we put in this character? I mean, it would be like recasting Iron Man. You can't. There's no one that they can put in that role as Wolverine that everyone is going to accept right off the bat. And even after, this person could give a fantastic performance. I mean, an awesome Wolverine, and they're still going to catch shit for it. I mean, people will eventually warm up to it. It is what it is, whatever they do with it. But it will always, Hugh Jackman is Wolverine. So I wouldn't be surprised if Disney was like, yeah, just get the guy. This will buy us some time.
Yeah.
Because we got to figure out X-Men.
Right, right.
So I really don't know. I don't know if this is him if he's trolling everybody, this will be the greatest troll ever done, like in the history of the internet. If the movie comes out and he's not even in it, or if like Hugh Jackman's just like in the background in like one shot or something.
Here's what's really funny is there's a you know Tim and Eric very well, right? Tim and Eric's $1 Billion movie.
The awesome show or whatever it's called.
Yeah, they
almost awesome show.
They did a joke on the Tim and Eric movie, the $1 Billion movie, where they spent $1 billion to get this jacket or whatever, but they also brought in the it was like the knockoff Johnny Depp or something like that. So can you imagine them actually bringing in, Deadpool looks at the screen, he's like, and here's Wolverine, and it's some like knockoff Wolverine or something like that.
Some Hollywood hilarious. Boulevard Wolverine.
Yeah, and like
it'd be amazing.
Hugh Jackman is, well, they do like they did in Free Guy, where Hugh Jackman's like, what the shit, with Chris Evans and stuff like that. So I think it would be great. I really hope this is true. I really hope that Wolverine or Hugh Jackman's in this because it would be kind of hilarious to have Deadpool and Wolverine together, just arguing back and forth, like a road trip movie or something.
It would be, but is that what makes it work? That Deadpool's obsession with Hugh Jackman and Wolverine, but he never actually gets to have him there.
Yeah, it could be like Borat trying to go after Pam Anderson in the Borat movie. Deadpool is so obsessed with like the looks of Hugh Jackman, he wants his like power or some shit. He goes after him. Yeah,
I could live with that. Because I don't know if you actually put Wolverine in a Deadpool movie. Well, yeah, it sounds like that'd be awesome. But if you start thinking about it, one of the funny things is his obsession with that character and with Hugh Jackman or both, and like not so much that they put them together, but it's more his obsession with it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whether it's true or not, I mean, we'll know eventually, I guess. But this could just be them drumming up interest in Wolverine. I mean, in Deadpool. But I do think that Disney would absolutely pay whatever amount of money Hugh Jackman wanted to get him to come back as that role. Because I don't think that they're looking forward to recasting that.
Well, and Henry Boyce says it perfectly. I think they would make a lot of money either way. I think Deadpool's going to make a lot of money, but Wolverine and Deadpool would make all the monies in the world. So.
Oh, yeah, it'd be huge. Even if it was a shit movie, it'd be huge.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, let us know in the comments below what you guys think of this trailer. Go check it out on Twitter. I'm sure it's other places too, where you can see it's only like a minute long, but it's a funny thing. But we've seen a lot of these types of things from Ryan Reynolds, especially concerning Deadpool over the years. Hell, that's how Deadpool got started. It got leaked, that test footage that he was involved with. Most people say he leaked it. I memean, I guess legally he can't come out and say he did, but he's done a lot of things like this. This is a big one, though. I mean, I do think that how monumental would the backlash be if it didn't happen now that it's been put out there? That's the thing. Unless they went out and like now. They would have to now come out and be like, just fucking around, or put another video out just showing that they were just fucking around. Because like if they wait till the movie releases making people think this and then he's not in it, or he's just like walking by in a scene, that would be some very Andy Kaufman-esque humor. But he's the only one that's going to find it funny. Like his fans will not be amused, and that will piss a lot of people off. But so I am probably more inclined to believe that he is in the movie. Just in what capacity, I don't know. But let us know in the comments below what you think, and if you think Wolverine will be a predominant figure in Deadpool 3, and all that. How's he going to be there? Do you think this is real? And if so, what role do you think he'll take on? Okay, one more story, and it is a Marvel-tastic story as well. We're talking Blade. MCU Blade, more specifically. It would appear, not appear, it is fact, that the Blade's triumphant, not return, but triumphant return to the silver screen, but his first appearance in the MCU, it technically already happened because his voice was in the end of, was it the Eternals?
Yeah, with what's his face?
Not Moon
Game
Knight.
of Thrones.
Whatever the night guy.
Dark is a Black Knight. I think his character's the Black Knight.
Lots of knights. But Blade's voice, Mahershala Ali, I think it's Mahershala Ali or whatever. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but you hear his voice off screen in the very end of that film. But his film was supposed to start production. Well, filming was supposed to start in November, so just over a month from now. Well, the director, Bassam Tariq, has exited his role as director of Marvel Studios' Blade. So right before the movie is supposed to start shooting, he's out. And as far as at least this report's concerned, any other report I've seen, it's not because, like with the Star Trek thing where he's leaving to go direct something else. It doesn't say exactly why he's out. What he did have to say is, it's been an honor working with the wonderful folks at Marvel. We were able to put together a killer cast and crew, eager to see where the next directors take the film. And that's all he had to say. That's it. He's out. This is odd. He will, however, according to this report, remain attached to the project as an executive producer. And that's almost kind of like you signed a contract, so you get this.
yeah. Steven Spielberg has a lot of those.
Yeah, your name's on here, just whatever. So this guy's out. He's not really, while attached, he's not attached, especially not in the way he was. So Blade has no director at this point. And there's been some other things. Now, this stuff is confirmed. There have been some other rumblings and some rumors going about the production and where the story and just everything. It's a fucking mess. If you believe what everybody... Now, like I said, this stuff about the director leaving, that's all factual. Why he left, we don't know. I'm going to say that probably in a few months to a years, we're going to hear that it was creative differences. But if you believe the rumors that are coming from believable people, the whole thing's a fucking mess. Like, it's a shit show over there. And I'm wondering how long until Mahershala Ali says, I'm out. When is this movie going to start hemorrhaging? It's already lost its fucking director. What's next?
Yeah.
I know you probably got a bit more information on this than I do, because you had actually sent me something about some of those rumors and stuff. What do you think of this, Nick?
It's not really surprising. There hasn't been a lot of movement on this film. Yeah, they say it's November, but it's
Mahershala Ali showed up on stage with the Blade hat, though.
Yeah. That makes it all the more
big
better.
moves.
First of all, I don't know if you're going to mention this, but about the Kevin Feige story.
Oh, what?
Okay,
Please
yeah,
do tell.
I'll mention. Yeah. So Kevin Feige is the Lord and Savior of the MCU. He's the one that's kind of put it into production. It's been his baby.
Oh, is this
He's
about how
apparently-
he's the overworked thing?
He's
Oh, yeah, go
overworked and spread thin, which makes absolute sense. Like if he says, you know what's going to happen? Kevin Feige's going to have a mental breakdown. He's going to quit one of these days. But they lost their director. They're supposed to be filming in a month. They're probably still going to film in November with a different director, and it was apparently a 90-page script, which movies in general should only be the 90 to 120 pages for a script anyways, because a lot of times it's just action stuff that gets put in there.
Well, the talkative movie, they say it's usually a minute per page. With a movie that's very dialogue heavy.
Right. And this would be not very dialogue heavy because it's Blade. Blade's more of a action oriented character. And they brought in a script. They brought in someone to reconfigure the script. They brought in like a lot of times they'll do a ghostwriter and they'll bring him in to redo a script. There's a guy named Robert Town that did that a lot, where they just bring in, writers that have experience to kind of, upkeep the movie. But apparently the movie was like very lackluster in its action. It was apparently only going to be like an hour and 30-minute movie. And, it's fine to have an hour and 30-minute movie, but it's like now you're losing your director. There was probably some heated arguments behind the scenes. Maybe the director was just not prepared for what he was getting himself into. And as much as I hate to say it, I'm really indifferent about Blade, to be fairly honest. I don't know if he fits in the MCU as a whole as we're at. It's the same thing I feel about Punisher a little bit. I don't think he fits into this MCU world.
Well, they said they're not doing Punisher.
Well, no, but they're talking about him being in Born Again, the Daredevil show or whatever. But
okay.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Blade's been one of those franchises that has kind of been off in weird places ever since the Wesley Snipes era, and it just, I mean, when you see all this happen, you're a little worried. But watch, they get like Brett Ratner to come in or some shit. But I don't know. I don't feel like it's going to be the worst thing in the world, because you remember what happened with Patty Jenkins and Thor. But it's starting to show that sometimes Marvel is not the perfect entity that it is. It's starting to show its seams. And
well, I'm with you. I don't think Blade fits the MCU. Not the Blade that from the comics
form that it's
or the
at,
movies. The Blade that people know. I mean, you could put anybody in there, I guess, but I do not think he fits. I mean, this isn't going to be rated R, and all the Blade. Well, Trinity wasn't, but had a rated R version. But Blade is an R-rated character. This ain't gonna be rated R.
Yeah, I mean, what is Blade? When is Blade going to go up against Kang and like fight him with his sword? I mean, it's so weird.
And I'm not saying they couldn't make a Blade movie, but everything doesn't have to be fucking connected. Make it outside of the MCU, because I think Blade's a cool character. I mean, Blade 1 and Blade 2 are awesome. We don't talk about Blade Trinity, but I mean, those two are really cool. So I think I would like to see another Blade movie. And Mahershala Ali I think he's a really good actor. Do I see him as Blade? I mean, I really haven't seen him in any like action-oriented roles and very, like, you know, what's the word? Really masculine role. Nothing against him, but he's just always kind of played that more reserved character. I haven't seen him play that type of part, so he might be awesome in it. I don't know. But I don't know. Blade just doesn't seem, you said it perfect. I don't think it's a fit for the MCU. And I think that they were probably struggling to fit him into the MCU. And that it's starting to show. And this director seems like he was just like, I'm this. If all this other stuff that's going on, I don't blame the guy for being like, I'm out, man.
Yeah, I mean,
this.
like you look at DC, they had their what was the one with the thing they were going to do, like DC Midnight, or is it DC Midnight? They had like
yeah, it was like the
Constantine.
Dark Justice League and all that stuff.
Yeah. Like they could do that with, you know, Blade and whatever, Black Knight and stuff like that. Bring their own like dark universe type Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I like the fact that they're doing like Werewolf by Night and stuff like that. They're going into like the horror realm, but you know, it just sometimes these characters, they're brought in because they're popular more than they're kind of they fit into the mold. Marvel has this specific way they're doing things now, and I don't think Blade fits into that. That's
Well,
just me.
Blade is coming. They are making this movie as pure. The fans want it, so we're gonna make it.
Yeah.
But the fans aren't. The fans don't always know what they want. They know what they think they want, and I'm a fan, so I can say that. I admit there's things I think I want, but then when we get them, it's like, oh, I didn't want that. That doesn't work. I mean, if you ask me, which nobody is, but this is probably why I'm not part of Hollywood. There is a place for Blade. It take a little bit of wheeling and dealing, and I think they could do it because they've done it before with another character. Blade does have a place, whether he gets his own movie or not. But I present a team-up film. Maybe not team-up, but at least a versus film. Maybe, I don't know. And it's a movie that I think that gets some definite traction. You need to have Blade versus or together or whatever with It's Morbin Time, Part 2. They need Morbius and Blade at it again, or for the first time. I don't know. That's who they need to put these two together. That could work, in all honesty. Not the Jared Leto one, but the character of Morbius. I think that character is a Marvel character. I think that character could work within the Blade universe. I don't know if they've met up in the comics before or not, but like you said, do something like that. Do a separate thing. It does not have to be connected to the fucking MCU. Stop trying to shoehorn stuff in. Put DC, you know, talk all the shit you want about them. They at least do that. Some movies, they're like, hey, this new version of Joker, we love it, but it doesn't fit with our DCEU, so we just make a side thing. And everybody seems to understand that that's a side thing.
Do you think having Kang as like the main antagonist in this series was done out of like desperation? Like they didn't know who they want, because they're apparently, for instance, Kang and MODOK's going to be in the next Ant-Man movie, and I hear MODOK's going to be like kind of just like shoehorned in, like the Scarecrow was in Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. And I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like what Marvel should have done after the Infinity Saga is just do, like you said, separate movies. Maybe have some time of team up. You know, kind of they're going in so, like you said, so many different directions that it almost feels like Kang is going to be short shrifted. I don't know. I don't even know. Like I would have found somebody other than Kang. I don't know much about Kang, I guess, but I just don't feel like he's like the ultimate baddie for.
I mean, at this
what
point,
Thanos
I'm with
was.
you. I don't know that much about Kang either. And I'm sure there's some super hardcore comic book fans that are like, how do you not know about Kang? Well, I mean, a lot of people I don't think do. And before Loki, they knew even less about him. Yeah, I feel like that too, because I don't know what his threat is. Thanos, I knew what his threat was. You know, I don't know what Kang, how he's a threat.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, he may be, and hopefully they pull that through, but yeah, I mean, think of like a character like Kang and Iron Man. Well, Iron Man's not in it anymore, but like Captain America and Thor and all these characters, they don't fit in what I know at least about Blade. Blade just, none of these characters that we have right now, that whole vibe, that whole feel, that world, that superhero world. I know there's comic books and he was probably in there with them. It doesn't fit. Do a separate MCU, do a DMCU, you know, the dark MCU or something. I don't know, but yeah, this isn't looking. Do you think that the movie's gonna? I think you said a moment ago. Do you think it's actually still gonna shoot in November?
Yeah. I guarantee you they have a second choice already in line. They've honestly, this leaving of the project was it probably already happened like a while ago, maybe a couple months, like a couple weeks or so ago, and they're just reporting it now. They probably already have someone. It's probably gonna be someone you expect them to take over. It's like, anything, and I do think it's gonna shoot in November. If they do push it off, it'll be like a month or so. But I mean,
Kenneth
it's
Branagh returns to the MCU for Blade.
It's like when when Ron Howard came in for Solo, they started filming like a week later after the two guys.
I mean,
left,
that worked out good.
Yeah, no. I'm not saying. Well, yeah, no. I mean, yeah, I it was fine, but the question is like, who are they going to bring back? David Goyer to do Blade after all that shit? But
Highly doubt that.
yeah, bring in the Bryans or the guys from the A24.
The Daniels.
Yes, thank you, the Daniels. Bring in the Daniels.
The Daniels need to
they're
direct
available.
everything.
Yeah, bring in RV and Falah. They're available.
The Daniels A24. It's a A24 and Marvel come together. Much
Actually, I
more
would
heady.
love to see that.
A24
That'd be great.
or a Marvel movie. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I what validity do you put a lot of validity in these like rumors that we're hearing about the movie being a total shit show? It sounds like you do.
Oh yeah. I mean, a lot. Honestly, a lot of these sources came from the same person, and he's pretty reliable. So, I find this stuff pretty. I mean, to be fairly honest, I guarantee you, there's a lot of projects like this that are having troubles just because, especially in the Marvel universe, that are just like. Is because there's so much on the line, so much money on the line that this stuff kind of happens, unfortunately. But yeah, I believe this. I believe this was happening. I think it was a unfortunate thing. So
I just do. It seems that way because, like you said, we've heard absolutely nothing about this movie, but they announced it, and every now and then it creeps up and people talk about it, but we're not getting any. This is the first official news we get about it is the director left.
Yeah,
and we don't know why, which means creative differences. I mean, it's who? Why the hell else would he leave 1 month before shooting starts? Something's up there. But I think it's a shit show, and he was just like, I'm not doing this. But that's our opinion. What about yours? Let us know in the comments below if you think that Blade truly is in such a bad place right now. What you think of the director leaving, and also, do you think Blade's a fit for the MCU, or should every single Marvel character show up in the MCU, or some characters just don't fit right? I mean, I think it's okay for not every character. Like I was actually thought higher of them when I heard that they've apparently gone back on it, but when they said that, hey, we're not going to do Punisher because he doesn't fit here, I'm like, oh, well, that's good. Apparently they went back on that, but I thought that was a good idea. But anyway, let us know in the comments below what you guys think. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen, the end of the show. That's all the news I got today. We went a little bit over, but not as far over as I thought we would. Totally blanked. Totally just fucking blanked.
I thought the audio went out. I was like, is he talking? I'm just not hearing anything.
Totally blanked on everything I was saying there. But yeah, show, movies, and stuff that we talked about. What'd you guys think? Hope you enjoyed it. Check out our next show will be on Saturday, of course, per usual, at 2 o'clock Central Time, my time. Figure out what that is, your time. I do still plan on doing a stream with my Ultimate Dreamcast. I was going to do it earlier, but I got a replacement part for it, and I wanted to put that on first. And I just hadn't got around to that. And I've been reorganizing. You guys can't see. If I drop this green screen, you'll just see shit everywhere because I decided last minute, hey, I want to reorganize my whole room. So there's just shit everywhere in here. So I got to finish. I want to get all that finished up, and then I will stream again and do some stuff. There's also some games that I would like to do, maybe some little short streams. So you guys be on the lookout for that at some point in the next few days to a week. Probably early next week, honestly. I doubt I'll get to it this week. This week's very busy, but Nick, what you got going on over there at the Movie Emporium? Because I can't talk right now.
No, I got reviews. I posted a review of Greatest Beer Run Ever today. I have reviews for Catherine Called Birdie, which is an Amazon movie, Smile, which I'm going to do a spoiler discussion for, and then a couple other things. But yeah, as of right now, just kind of I'm in the middle of like flux of when moving and recording and all that good stuff. So find all that at Movie Emporium.
Yeah, check out Nick's channel. He's got all kinds of stuff and reviews over there. I will be having the review that you guys saw earlier in the show. The actual review of that will be up on my channel here, as soon as we get off of here, I'll put that up if you missed any of that, or if you didn't get to see it, or if you want to see it again. So go check that out. It'll probably be up in the next 30 minutes or so. And then I will also be having a review of the Munsters this week, and also Blonde and Avatar over the course of the next few days, the new release of Avatar, because I never reviewed that movie. So that's 4 reviews in 1 week. Look at me go. And, of course, we will be back on Saturday. And check out all my socials, and check out Nick's socials. I'm on Twitter. I'm here. And, of course, Patreon if you want to help out the channel. And there's also that join button down there. That's here on YouTube. That's join the what do they call it? Memberships here on YouTube. I've got one. I do plan on expanding that eventually at some point. But, Nick, you got anything else you want to let the fine people out there in movie land know?
What happened? I'm sorry. No, you cut out.
I'll say, is there anything else you want to let everybody know before we get out of here?
Oh no. Stay safe. If you are watching, you're from Florida, please stay safe, because it's crazy. Well, if you see the videos, you can see how big this hurricane is. So just stay safe. That's all I can say.
If you guys are down there in the areas that are getting hit by that hurricane, just stay safe and do whatever they tell you you're supposed to be doing and going, because that fucker's pretty big and bad from what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
But anyway, check us out on Saturday at 2 o'clock or Central Time, whatever time that is where you're at, and we will see you guys next time. Bye!